Let me feel your love again, 'cause I've been running round in circles.
What is going on, Papa Fam? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sunny, aka Papa React, and I'm excited to bring you some absolute fire today. Today I've done something actually totally different to what you guys are used to on the channel, but I promise you this, you're gonna learn so much and it's gonna be such a fun experience for every single one of you. So let me know in the comments right now if you're excited. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know if you're an OG Papa Fan member or if you're brand new watching replay. Wherever you are watching from right now, let me know, get the energy up. This is the UPS delivery tracking app 2.0, powered by StepZen. And it is one hell of a powerful build, guys. So say hello to today's build with React Native, TypeScript, all that good stuff, and a bunch of new tech that we've never done on the channel before. Say hello to the build, guys. UPS 2.0. Bam! There we go, guys. Here we have it. This is our app that we're looking at. So we're going to be able to do a bunch of filtering, bunch of searching. We're going to be able to click into a card of deliveries where we can see all of our customers. We've got maps. We've got everything working as we expect it. Nice, beautiful, scrollable list. We've got nested navigation in React Native navigation now. So we can check by customers or by orders. Let's go ahead and click into an order. You can see we have that same reused component on the front end being reused here. Now, this build, I want to stress to you guys, you can go ahead and search as well. This build is more of a scenario-based build. So I'm going to go ahead and explain what today is all about and why I've done it a little bit different today. So what I've always done in traditional builds is we've gone ahead and given you pretty much the answer from the get-go. You guys have coded along with me and we've gone ahead and built something pretty awesome. But I always get the same question. Sunny, what do I do in this scenario with a freelancing client? Sunny, what do I do if they've already got a database and they've asked me to build an app? So I basically did exactly just that. I listened to you guys, and what we've done today is we've given you a backend. So we're going to go ahead and show you. Let's imagine you have a freelancing client and your client came to you with let's just imagine a massive JSON blob, right? A JSON string, and this is their backend, or it could be whatever backend you want. I'm going to show you how you can leverage the power of StepZen to go ahead, create a GraphQL interface, build an awesome interface between that backend and between our app, and then present it on an app like you see right here. So it's going to be one hell of an experience. It's going to be a ton of new things. And what you're not seeing here is that this build is using one hell of a lot of TypeScript. So we're using so much TypeScript in this build, probably the most I've ever done in any React Native build. So if you want to learn TypeScript, this is the correct video for you. There's loads of links in the description. What I want you to pay attention to, the first link is when we actually begin to use StepZen in this video, use the first link. It goes ahead, helps and supports the Papa Fam, and it's the one that's going to give you the bonus extra goodies that they've given us. But I'm going to jump into that in just a short second. So today's video, what are we building? We're going to be using something called React Native. If you haven't used it before, it's how you build beautiful apps just like this. So you're going to be building an iOS and an Android app. You're going to be using TypeScript to go ahead and build a robust application. So you're not going to have as many bugs, not as many sort of issues. Some people are saying, what is UPS? It's a delivery tracking app. Okay. So it's more of a delivery app. So we're going to be building sort of, let's just call it the delivery tracking app. Okay, we're using Tailwind CSS to build a beautiful UI. We're going to be using React Native elements to go ahead and style out that UI. We're actually using the real-time Firebase database today as well. So if you're interested in learning some Firebase, today is your lucky day. We're going to build your first ever custom hook on this channel if you haven't already been in some of my other previous builds where we did that. So that's going to be fun for you guys. I'm going to show you how to add maps into React Native apps, and you're going to learn how to use nested navigators. Now, if you're probably wondering, what the hell does he mean when he keeps saying that? Right? Here you can see we've got tab navigation, but we've also got modal navigation, so modals can pop up, and we've got page navigation. Believe it or not, you doing that with TypeScript, not as simple as you might think. So we're going to be covering all of that in today's video. So smash the thumbs up button if you like what you're seeing, if you're getting excited about this, and we're going to go ahead and dive right into today's breakdown of what we're going to be up to. Give me 1 second, guys. Right, so first thing I want to do is I want to introduce our sponsor for today's video that's made this entire thing possible, StepZen. Now, I only show the apps and companies that I actually support and the ones that I actually love. Roy and the team over there are incredible. What they've done there is actually awesome, right? So what they've essentially done is you can compose a GraphQL from any backend. It doesn't matter if it's a Firebase database, doesn't matter if it's a SQL database. You saw me do it with the Superbase demo with we did it with the Reddit clone. So it doesn't matter where you're using your backend from, you can make an awesome GraphQL API. It's very simple to use. I'm going to show you today how we can use a REST API backend in the form of the Firebase Realtime database to go ahead and create an awesome GraphQL API. It's going to have type definitions. It's going to be written the correct way. It's awesome. Okay. They're used by companies such as HP, the big dogs. So these guys are trustworthy. Trust me, I've been working with them. They're good guys. Okay. And they revamped their dashboard. So we've got a whole new dashboard, which I'm going to show you in today's video. Now, if you're excited for this, let me know where you're watching from. So I actually didn't read. Here we go. We got Kenya, Sweden, Germany, UK, US, France, Berlin, France, DRC Congo, what's up, Ukraine, Minnesota, USA. This is cool. All right, this is international, guys. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, I know that some of you are watching, you don't subscribe. Subscribe, because I'm going to drop non-stop free content. If you haven't noticed, the frequency is going up, guys. We're working very hard to get more content out. And if you want to join our community, head over to papareact.com/course. Link is in the description to join Full Stack Hero. If you want to join the Papa fam in its full flavor, okay? With that said and done, we're going to go ahead and start this build. First thing I want you guys to go ahead and do is let me know if you're coding along with me right now, because we're actually going to be doing this pretty fast, but I want to know if you guys are going to code along or if you're going to be kind of doing your own thing. But we're going to be using Expo. Expo is an awesome platform to go ahead and use, and it's actually going to allow us to create an iOS, Android app, and a web app actually. But we're not going to focus on the web app today. We're going to focus on the iOS and Android app. First thing I want you to do, I want you to go ahead, go to expo.dev, and then I want you to click on get started. So I'm going to turn the music down a little bit. Let's get focused. Okay. So I've actually logged in. I've already created an account here. So I'm going to go to the docs, and we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Now, what I like to do, I'm going to pretend that you're just brand new to this channel. You have never seen a video of mine before, and I'm going to run you through everything. Okay. So absolute beginner friendly tutorial here. So first thing I want you to do is actually go ahead and install something into your terminal. Now, what is this that we're installing? This is called the Expo CLI, and this is going to allow us to actually go ahead and set up our application that you see on the right hand side. Now, because this is actually running already, I'm going to have to cut this one so we can actually start developing on another one. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to go ahead, and I've already prepped this beforehand. I've created a bunch of different screenshots that we can go ahead and use in our assistants to go ahead and use as a reference. So now you can see the different screens. We now have reference screenshots, and we can use these screenshots as we're developing our app. So this is honestly a really good case study if you're learning to become a software developer and you want to see what it's like, because in a lot of cases, when you get a gig, a designer is going to give you a bunch of screens and you're going to go ahead and have to build it out. So I hope this is as close to a freelancing gig as possible. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. The second link in the description, by the way, is the sample data that you're going to need for this build. So I've given that to you. It's a public GitHub repo. Second link in the description. All you have to do to go ahead and get that is actually go ahead and clone that repo. So git clone that URL, and you'll be able to get the code, the JSON code for getting started. So what we want to do is go ahead and npm i-g expo CLI. Now this is going to install it globally, which means it's not going to be attached to a project. It's going to be available for you to use on your entire computer. So you can open up a terminal. I'm going to go ahead and make this super big for you guys. And what you can do is you can go ahead and say npm i-g expo CLI. I've already done this, so I'm not going to do it. But in this case, you might have to go ahead and sometimes add in sudo, as it's a admin command, and sometimes you need extra permissions, right? So it's going to prompt you to ask your password, and then you can go ahead and do it just like that. Now, I can see so many people tuning in from around the world. We've got Nebraska in the house, got all these kind of places. I love this. I'm going to be streaming a lot more, so let me know the timings, if it's good, that kind of stuff. We are going to keep this stuff moving quite a lot now. Okay, so I've already done that command, so you don't have to. You have to do that. Sorry. And if that doesn't work and it says npm is not recognized, you're probably going to have to download Node. Okay, you have to download Node. Sorry, right? So you're going to need to do that. Now the next one you want to do is npx create expo app my app. Now I'm actually not going to use this one actually in particular. Instead, I'm going to be using one with TypeScript. I'm just going to find it for you guys. as I actually lost it. But there's a really nice sort of starter template that we can use to go ahead and create our app with the TypeScript template. So this is the one I actually want you to use. So starting from scratch using a TypeScript template. Okay, so this is official from their docs, and what this is going to allow us to do is actually go ahead and create the app with the TypeScript sort of configuration already set up for us. So really, really easy stuff. I see you guys saying awesome timing, Sunny. Thank you so much, guys. Smash the like button. You guys are really, really incredible today. The energy is actually insane. Over 200, 300 people watching different platforms right now. Thank you so much. I need a water break. Give me 1 second, guys. And let me know if you want the music louder or anything like that. Okay. This is exciting. I think everyone's like tuning in. Everyone's getting down. I know the crowd now. I know how everyone's thinking based on the way the comments are coming in and that kind of stuff. Right. What we're going to do now, I'm going to bring the music up a little bit. npx create expo app. So I'm going to copy this command right here. Now, the main bit you really have to focus about is the -t, the template. Okay. So I want you to basically copy this, open up your template or terminal, sorry. And I want you to go into a folder that you like to code in. Now, I like to go ahead and do documents, builds, so you can put it wherever the hell you want. I'm going to chuck it here, bam. And then it's going to ask me what the app name should be. So we're going to give it a second. Whenever I'm live, the demo gods are against me, but here you go. What is your app called? We're going to call this app the UPS clone YouTube StepZen. Okay, I'm going to call it that, okay? You can call it whatever you want. It does not matter. That's your app name. There you go. It's going to locate project files. It's going to go ahead and set up our dependencies, all that good stuff. Now mine, you can see, is using npm. So that's what we're going to stick with in today's build. All right. Somebody says, Sunny is a programming alien. Thank you, dude. It's just practice. That's all it is. Okay. Someone says mouthful. Yeah, it was a bad name, but that's coding for you. Okay. So let's go in. And if you guys can't comment, by the way, you just need to subscribe. I've made it a subscriber only chat. So you just got to hit the subscribe button and then you can go ahead and throw a comment in and any good stuff like that. Thank you guys. Smash that like button. We're almost at 200 likes. This is awesome. Right. So while this is happening, I'm going to go ahead and show you the benefits of using that link in the description. So if you go ahead and hit that first link in the description to sign up to StepZen and get ready for later when we're going to need StepZen, you're going to be able to get a free tier with over 300,000 monthly requests. I think that's the limit. Yeah, 300,000 monthly requests. I mean, that's damn generous, right? So if you go ahead and hit that first link in the description, your boys got you sorted. We've got a deal with them and they've sorted us out. So you guys are going to get treated nicely if you go ahead and do that. Thank you, CJ. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. All right. So in this case, our project is ready. Hey, we're going to go into our app right now and we're going to go into it like so. I've got a few here. You can see, wow. Okay. There you go. I'm inside. And what I'm going to do is do code dot, and code dot allows me to open up a VS Code with that folder directory set up in my workspace. So what I'm going to do is open this up and I'm going to make this a bit bigger for you guys so that way you can see how I am doing. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we've got a lot to build today, believe it or not, right? There's actually a lot that goes on into building this app. It may not look it, but there's a lot that goes on to that. So brace yourselves, get your coffee ready. If you fall behind, do not worry. So somebody just asked, can a noob follow up? Yes. All I want you guys to do is honestly follow along with me. Have fun. Okay. Have fun. Don't worry if it's overwhelming, if it's too complicated. This is what we're here for. This is what the Papa Fam's about. It's a community of developers. Forget the whole notion of you have to be an absolute pro at every single thing. I hate that going around on YouTube right now. We're all learning, so don't worry. Just have fun today, okay? Let's jump into this. So somebody said, should we use JavaScript or TypeScript? TypeScript allows you to reduce the number of bugs, so yes, I would recommend using TypeScript. It's just got a level of learning to it. So app.tsx, this is what we're going to use to start up our app. So I'm going to go ahead and actually cancel this app right now. So I'm going to close everything I had running previously, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what we are about right now. And if I didn't show you already, we have a StepZen GraphQL Explorer where we can basically go ahead and interact and pull data from our Firebase, and it returns a nice GraphQL return statement. So this is what we're going to basically be building in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to everything. Don't stress, right? So at this point, what I want you to do is go into your terminal, Command J to open up your terminal, and I want you to go ahead and type in Expo start. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to go ahead and start up Expo, which is basically going to allow us to have our app running on either iOS or Android. And the great thing about Expo is you can actually scan the QR code that pops up on your phone, download the appropriate app, which is Expo Go, the client on your phone, and you can actually develop on your phone as long as you're connected to your local network. So it's an absolute game changer like that. So you don't always need to have an iOS or Mac device to code in iOS anymore. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click Expo Start. Awesome stuff. Jay is also awesome. Jay is awesome. There we go. You can use the local CI by using npx Expo Start as well. Rohan says, hey, Sunny, what is up, dude? So in this case, you could scan that if you're on my network, and then it would work. Okay, so in this case, you can see open iOS simulator, open web, and so forth. So I'm going to actually close the simulator for a second and show you this from scratch. So what I want you to do here is hit the I button, I key on the keyboard. So I'm hitting I and it says opening on iOS, right? So now what we'll see is we will see the simulator pop up on the screen in just a second, and this will go ahead and open up in the form of an iPhone 12 Pro Max, whatever one you have on the screen. Whoa, what's up, Andre Smith? Papa fan member in the house. Good to see you, dude. Look at this. Ahmed says, I want to say thank you. I got more skills from you guys. Thank you so much, dude. Amazing. Right, so let's go ahead and see if the phone opened up. Where is my phone? Let's see. Let's open up again. It's just being slow. It's shy today, guys. Where the hell is my phone? All right, let's see. I'm going to open up the simulator. And if it doesn't open up, you can always go to your device and just force it to open as well. In this case, you go to open simulator, iPhone 12. There you go, right? iPhone 12 Pro Max. And it will just load up a phone. Now you can go ahead and actually add different phones. You can actually go ahead and add simulators. If you go to preferences, do all that kind of fun stuff and it'll work. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give this a second while it's doing this thing. In the meantime, what we're gonna do is go ahead and dive into the beginning of this build. So what I want you to first do is prepare the backend of today's build. So we're gonna actually use Firebase today. So Firebase is an awesome set of tools provided by the guys over at Google, and I've used this in a ton of our old builds, right? So in this case, you just want to sign in with a Google account, hit go to console, and I want you to set up your app in Firebase. So this is essentially going to be the backend, which is going to hold that sample JSON that I've given you. Jay, if you can possibly send me on Slack on the side, that will help me out because I actually don't have access to that link right now. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project, and I'm going to go ahead and name my project. So I'm going to call this one, let's just call it the UPS clone StepZen. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click continue. I'm going to disable Google Analytics. Thank you, Jay. Click create project. And this is going to go ahead and set up our project for us. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't actually show you that. So I went ahead and done that on the screen. I just typed in create project. I added a name and I clicked create app. Oh, Rajpreet Singh, welcome to the Papa Farm special tier. Thank you, guys. If you want to support the channel, simply hit the little join button or the thanks, or if you're watching the video afterwards. We appreciate every single bit of it. Thank you so much. And it helps you because I can actually see you guys when you're popping up. Andre says, we're going to have some Redux in this family. Not in this build, dude, but we have it inside the Papa Farm. So join us at papareact.com to go ahead and check it out. Continue. Now, this is going to open up our screen. And as you can see here, guys, this is our starting point for the backend. So what I want you to do is, and they've actually neatened it up a lot since we've been here, right? I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys. I don't know why it was smaller than it should have been. That's strange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my simulator and try and run that again. I want you to know one thing. You have to be patient with React Native. I'm just telling you right now. Any React Native dev will tell you the same. React Native is a patient piece of tech, right? It is not as nice as Next.js, in my opinion. It takes a bit of time, but we're going to get there. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go to the build. And inside of here, you've got Firestore and Realtime. Now, I'm typically a huge fan of Firestore, but today's video, we're going to be using the Realtime database. And I'm going to show you exactly why. So the second link in the description has access to the GitHub repo. So if you click that second link in the description, you will come to this page. Now, you don't even need to clone this. All you need to do is go ahead. Thank you, Savvy Programmer. That's amazing. All you need to do is go ahead and click sample data.json, and this is your test data to begin in today's video. So all I need you to do is literally copy this. Okay, so you can go here, you can actually copy the contents, and it will go ahead and copy to your clipboard. Okay, my phone isn't actually loading. This is interesting. I'm going to force my simulator to quit, and we're not going to panic. It's all good in the hood. Right, let's go ahead and leave that. I'm going to go ahead and force it to open again. It's fine. Just patience, guys. Don't stress. right? So at this point, we're going to copy the raw contents like so. Now what I want you to do is head over back. There we go. Hey. So if that happens, I would recommend you just force quit and then you hit I. So I'm just going to let that show up. This will just basically render up the dummy app on our phone. Okay. Now heading back over here, we're going to click on create database, right? So, whoa, Rajpreet Singh, that's awesome, dude. Click create database and you want to click a location. Now it's up to you. Honestly, just choose whatever's kind of near you. At this point, I'm just going to leave it as the United States. Click next. We're going to start in test mode, which allows a temporary writing. I'm not going to go into security rules today, but if you want to know more about security rules, check out the Firebase's channel on YouTube. They're awesome. They do really good videos, and click enable. Okay. So this is going to allow us to go ahead and do this. Yes, you can use this on Windows as well, guys. This is a universal app, right? You can do it on Windows. If you're using Windows, you're probably going to be using Android, unless you have an iPhone and you can scan that QR code and use your phone to develop on. Guys, we have so many people tuned in right now. We have over 300 viewers across different platforms. Thank you. Smash the thumbs up button. Let's get this video out to as many people. Just by hitting that like button helps push this video so far. So please do that. It goes a very long way. Okay. Now what I want you to do is, we copied all of this information like so. I want you to go here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into value, and I want you to actually paste it and hit enter. Okay. And as you can see, you get all of the additional information added to our database. Now, what this essentially is a JSON tree, right? So the real-time database is like a massive JSON tree. Now, the whole reason why I've given you this, again, if for anyone who's missed it, we are essentially giving you a scenario today where you've got a freelancing client who already has a database. It's a JSON massive tree inside a real-time database. And your mission is to go ahead and pull information from that in a relational type of way, so in a way that makes sense. And you need to go ahead and build a tracking app and present it on a React Native app. So I'm showing you just how to do that in today's video. And I'm going to show you how StepZen makes that incredibly easy to go ahead and create a GraphQL interface that we can use. Right, let's go ahead and do this. Right, this is killing it. Wow, the likes just spiked up. You guys are killing it. Thank you. Right, so at this point, you should have the following information. If you did have a problem with that, you can go ahead and hit here and import JSON. That will do the same trick if you just save the file and upload it. It's easy to do, okay? Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Andre Smith. Jay will tell you in a second. Okay, so with this done, now what we're going to do is head back over to StepZen. So StepZen, as I mentioned before, first link in the description is what you're going to need to click on to go ahead and get started. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and actually see what we have here. Right, so in order to get started, you can actually use StepZen with a bunch of different backends. Now, today, we're going to be using the REST endpoints API, right? But you have got databases, you have got GraphQL endpoints. If you are interested in learning about how to use it with a SQL database like Superbase, then check out the Reddit build on, it's going to be hovering over the screen right now if you are watching this on replay. But without further ado, we're going to carry on with what we're doing with the REST endpoints. Okay, let's carry on. Michael Gurges, what is up? OG is in the house. Let's click on dashboard. Now, what I want you to do when you do this is all you need to do is actually just click login, and a login will take you to your starting point. Now, this is the new dashboard. Okay, so it's free to log in. Set up an account, sorry. All right, and then here you're actually going to see all the different endpoints that are going to get deployed. So you can see I use these guys quite a lot, and they actually have these awesome metrics now that you can see. What I then want you to do is go ahead and go over to your account. So here you can see you've got my key. I'm not showing the entire key, so it's fine. And you've got your login details. Now, if we head over to the docs, you can see you've got a bunch of documentation over here. If you do get stuck, we've got examples. We've got loads of things that will help us get to where we need to get to. But in the first point, what I want you to do is once you've logged in, you will see this getting started screen. And if you don't, simply head to stepzen.com/getting-started to go ahead and get set up. Now, first thing you're going to have to do, install the global tool StepZen. Just like we did for Expo, go ahead and do this. You'll probably need to do sudo as well in a lot of cases. So in this case, go ahead and install StepZen. I have already done this. The next thing I want you to do is log in to your StepZen account. So you will get a command here which is relevant for you. You can go ahead and log in to your account. Then it's going to ask for your admin key password. And if you don't log into your account, any API that you actually go ahead and release is going to be a public endpoint. So it's going to be accessible to everyone. So I just recommend you use this approach and you actually pop in your admin key when you're prompted like so. And then you're going to have your own private API endpoint at least. So that way people don't go crazy over yours if you accidentally leak it or share it. Okay. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different examples down here, but I'm going to make it super easy for you just to follow along with me. Okay. So once you've done this, we can go ahead and proceed to the next step. Okay, see what I did there? Step, right? So at this point, we're going to go ahead and we've already just set up our Firebase backend. We have our app running and we have our StepZen app pretty much set up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is prepare our app to go ahead and start getting built. Now, as I mentioned, this app does use Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is essentially a way of creating responsive, beautiful pages, right? But we're actually I'm going to show you how to use it in today's video with React Native. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to go ahead and use it. And we're actually going to be using a special Tailwind CSS library. Now, I did use a different one in the past, but I like to go ahead and mix and match so you guys can see it's not just one way fits all. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use something called Tailwind React Native, and this is the one right here that we're going to use. So I'm going to show you as I've done it, as I log into it, as I kind of, as I find it and as I kind of install it. Now, here is the first command. We have to add it to our project. So I want to go over to our project and notice what I'm about to do here. I have my Expo running here, right? So Expo start. I will need to go ahead and then pop in the side. So here you can see I've got another terminal, and what I like to do is just pop that to the side, right? So this is kind of running, it's a bit squished up, but I can see if there's any red going on and I can look into it, right? Next thing I'm going to do is install Tailwind React Native into our application. So I'm going to set up our Tailwind right now. So this is going to install into the dependencies for Tailwind, so that way I don't have to do all of this long styles stuff, right? I'm going to show you how to kind of neaten this up. So we've gone ahead and installed that successfully. Now what I want you to go ahead and do is head back over to their documentation. And what we're going to use is this npx setup Tailwind React Native. And this will go ahead and actually help us set up what we need to inside of our application. So let's check this out right now. npx setup Tailwind React Native in that same folder. While that's doing that, quick little water break. Make sure you're having water breaks while you're coding. Don't code for a massive period of time without doing that. It's not worth it. Right, this is awesome. We got loads of Papa Fan members in the house. This is amazing. Billy says, what do I think about Angular? Well, I'm not a huge fan, to be honest with you. I prefer React for a reason. Right, so in this case, you can see step one, run Tailwind React Native in development mode. So essentially what we need to do now is run our app in one window. In the second terminal, we need to run the Tailwind compiler, and then we need to basically implement the steps to allow Tailwind to work inside of our app. So I'm going to do it in a kind of reverse order. I'm going to go ahead and do step 2 first, which is add in the Tailwind provider. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these 2 lines right here, go to the root of our application, which is right here, and paste it in. Right, so a very simple thing, first thing that we're doing. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually wrap our entire app inside of this Tailwind provider, like so. So I'm popping in my app around the Tailwind provider. Okay, there we go. And then you can see we've got a little bit of an issue. Now, the reason why this is happening is the type definitions haven't actually been added yet. So what I want you to do here is just temporarily add a TypeScript ignore, which is only for this. And I know there's going to be some TypeScript guys that are going to kill me for that, but it's fine. Tailwind provider, they haven't updated the type definitions. If you're watching this video, just do it, please, so that way I don't have to do stuff like that and get hate. All right, so in this case, there you go. Or somebody else can contribute to it, right? But there you go. That's the only time we're doing TypeScript ignore is for that wrapper, right? So at this point, Jay, time out that dude. Masters Web 3 is a bit annoying. All right, guys, don't spam the same thing again and again, please. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So I'm wrapping out the app with Tailwind provider, and 1 second. Okay, yeah, timeout. Guys, admins, please do your job. Right, so at this point, we've got Tailwind provider. And we're going to go ahead and now we can use Tailwind inside of our application. But before we do that, we're going to do this. So npm run dev Tailwind. So I'm firstly now in this window, I'm going to go ahead and run npm run dev Tailwind, and we should see our Tailwind script run. Now, if you're wondering how the hell did that work, right? Well, really what's happened behind the scenes there, you see we've got a bunch of Tailwind configuration files. It's actually gone ahead and added a package.json script, which has got a bunch of different scripts concurrently working together to go ahead and compile the Tailwind CSS that we're about to write. Okay, so in this case, you can see it works like so. So there you go. We've got it rebuilding. I'm going to open up a third terminal now. Okay, so you can see how this app works. We've got Expo running, we've got the Tailwind compiler running, and then we've got our third one, which is probably going to have StepZen running. Okay, right. So at this point, guys, we're almost about to hit 300 likes. Destroy that like button if you haven't already. Thank you for watching these videos. I love and appreciate all of you. Right. So the final thing is, how do we actually use it? So to use it inside of a component, all you need to do is do step 4. Yeah. So you basically go ahead and we can actually do it inside of here. In fact, what I'm actually going to do now is show you how we can have a screen here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and let's see if we can use it anyway. No, we're not going to be able to. All right. I'm going to go ahead and create a screens folder. So we're going to create our first screen, which represents the home page. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to create a folder called screens. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and call this first screen the customers screen. Okay, and don't worry about the name. We're going to go ahead and use it later so it makes sense. But this is going to be the customer screen.tsx, and we're using TypeScript with JSX, so it's going to be called the customer screen. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and use a handy extension. You've seen me do it a few times, but if you haven't seen it, type in ES7, and what you will see is this one right here, ES7 React Redux React Native snippets. I want you to go ahead and use that right now. Now, loads of people are saying, why don't you use this library? Why don't you use that library? Guys, use whatever library you want, please. It does not matter. There's tons of ways in coding to do the same thing. So it really doesn't matter at this point. So I'm going to use a snippet here, RN for React Native functional exported component. There you go. And there's even one with TypeScript implemented in it, right? So you can actually do that one as well. In this case, we've got a customer screen. So in this case, this is just going to say customer screen. I'm going to hit save, go back to my app.tsx, and I'm going to go back here. And instead of this now, I'm going to go ahead and show you a preview of the app while it's open. And I'm going to replace this with my app. So in this case, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to type in my customers screen. There you go. And it's a self-closed component, right? There you go, and hit save. And now what we should be able to see right in the top corner, it says customer screen. Okay, that's because there's no padding, there's no safe zone. I'll explain that in just a second. Now we're going to go into customer screen, and I'm going to prove, but we just need to test that it's actually working the way we wanted it, right? So I'm going to go over here, and what I now need to do is pop in our little useful Tailwind command. So it was right here actually where it had it. It was use Tailwind, and we're going to go ahead and pop it in. And we're going to go ahead and do control spacebar, import it from our Tailwind React Native library. Now, what we can do is, firstly, in order to get it actually visible, we're going to change our view. And the only way that it works is, guys, is where you have divs in web development, you have views in React Native. The reason why you have this is because it's going to be one component which is going to compile down to iOS on Apple phones, Apple devices, and Android is going to compile down to the appropriate element. So that way you've got one component which works across devices. So that's why we do that, by the way. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to change this to a safe area view. And I want you to change this. And what this does is it basically avoids the notch. So that way you can see that right there, right? Now in this case, I like to, rather than call it Tailwind, I call it TW for shorthand. And in the style command, which is basically where we would replace class names in web development, we're going to type in TW, and we can go ahead and test if this works. So here I'm writing a Tailwind CSS utility class. Now, you're probably wondering, Sunny, it didn't go red. Why didn't it go red? Well, that actually makes sense, and I'm going to show you why. So whenever we use Tailwind, we have to tell Tailwind which folder or which files do you need to look out for. So head over to tailwind.config.js, and what we're going to need to do is basically add in the following. So I need to basically tell Tailwind that you need to go ahead and check out for the following files. So I'm going to go ahead and search for all the files inside of a directory. So any name, and it can be any file name, and I'm going to go ahead and translate the TypeScript files. right? So the TSX files, and then we hit save. And now what we should see, if we go ahead and we refresh, there we go. So as you can see, there's a little delay because our little compiler in the middle here is actually rebuilding as we save things. So it's watching over and rebuilding. And now if I change it to text blue, hit save, you will see that this will eventually turn blue as well. So bam, we have Tailwind CSS working. If you enjoyed that, bang on timing, 300 likes. Awesome stuff, guys. This retention is incredible today. Over 300 people watching across platforms. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I'm going to keep this stuff coming. So let's keep on going, right? Right. So let's keep going, guys. I can see so many people chatting in the chat, in the thing. Guys, focus on the build. All right, let's go. All right, so at this point, we have the customer screen. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that right there. We're going to build that later. We've set up Tailwind CSS successfully, okay? So at this point, we can choose where we want to go ahead and build. So I think let's do a little bit of UI, and then we can go ahead and move around, okay? So the first thing that you can notice is whenever we have an application, we're going to have separate screens. Now, whenever you have separate screens in an app, you need something called a navigator, right? So you need something like reactnative navigation to go ahead and allow something like this, for example, where you have customers and orders. Now I'm going to use a screen brush here to go ahead and draw on the screen. So as you can see, that everyone always asks me that question, what do you use to draw on the screen? It's actually called screen brush. So in this case, it should be popping up right now. So here you go. Now I can draw on the screen, and yeah, we can do this. So you can see down here, we have some, so if you can't see that, down there I'm looking, right? So this navigator right here is basically called a tab navigator. And then when I click onto one of these, it will either take me to a screen or a tab navigator. So I've actually, or modal, sorry, pops up. Now I'm going to show you how to do both, right? So when we click on one of these, I want a modal to pop up. When we click on one of these, I want it to go to the next page. And we're going to customize it. We're going to do so much cool stuff around this. And I'm going to show you just how we're going to do that, okay? So first step to get any navigation working is we need to go ahead and head over to React Native Navigation, right? So React Native Navigation. There we go, bam. Hit save. And now you can go ahead, not save, sorry, coding too long. Right, so this is what we're going to basically be using. So we're going to go ahead and hit read the docs. And I'm going to show you as I would do it in the beginning if I was a newcomer, right? So you can go down here, you'll see npm installations, right? So first thing you need to do is actually install React Native Navigation. So let's go ahead and do that first. So we're going to open this up, and as you can see, we've still got a free terminal on the right-hand side. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use that free terminal in order to do what I need to do. So npm install React Native Navigation. Yes, you can actually separate or create a new separate screen. It's up to you how you want to work here. Right, Alex, what's up, dude? Abidjan. Oh, I think I pronounced that right. Giro, I see you, OG. Right, awesome stuff. So you can see we added that into our application. Then what we're going to now do is head back over, and you can see the next step is installing dependencies into an Expo managed project. Now, what does that mean as opposed to a bare React Native project? Now, when we're using Expo, the benefit of using Expo is that it makes dependency management actually a lot easier. And they've actually sort of handled this for a lot of us in different areas. So like maps, for example, rather than going into separate iOS folders, installing dependencies, separate Android folders, installing separate dependencies, Expo is very easy. You just run one command, and then they've handled that behind the scenes. And trust me, saves you a hell of a lot of pain. I've worked with React Native before. Only get to that point if you have to, or you get to a production state where you have to eject and you have to do it manually. But in this case, we are in an Expo managed environment. So I'm going to click copy, and we're going to go ahead and use our Expo install command. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So Expo install. So you can see I've done that here, npx expo install. I'm going to bring the music up a little bit as well. Guys, this is amazing retention today. Honestly, well done for tuning in and staying with me. This is incredible. Thank you, guys. We're literally hitting over 350 views across platforms, and we're about to smash 400 likes. Okay, let's go. So you can see here, we've installed that successfully. Command J to hide it. Oops, wrong screen. And now you can see we've already done that step. So you can proceed to go down, skip that bit. And now the next part, wrapping your app in a navigation container. So a lot of our patterns you can see are called higher order components. And this is where our app essentially keeps getting wrapped and wrapped and wrapped in different things. So in this case, if we open up our app.tsx, you can see we're wrapping our app in a Tailwind provider. Well, naturally next, we're gonna have a navigation container. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. And you can delete the things that we're not using. So anything grayed out, feel free to go ahead and clean up your code and get rid of it. Right, so hit save like that, navigation container. I'm going to go down here, pop it in like so. Okay, now as you can see, I pushed in my customer screen inside of there, right? So that's not the way, it's not finished yet. I'm just doing it step by step. So that's the first thing I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is go to the next screen, okay? And I'm showing you this way, but not because I don't know it. I've done this already, right? I'm showing you because I want to show you, in case, I don't want you to have to rely on me. I want to show you how you can start to learn yourself and go ahead and learn new tech. There's no point me just showing you every single step manually without showing you the websites, because then you're not learning yourself. How are you going to learn new bits of tech if I'm not there then? So I like to show you the actual realistic me going onto a website and finding out how to use it. All right. So in this case, you can see we've got the next part, which is where we add the native navigation stacks. Okay. So in this case, we can do it a few ways. So we need to go ahead and install this is the first step, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go into my dependencies. I'm going to install the React Navigation native stack. Oh, this is a throwback. This is awesome. All right, this is a throwback. Smash those likes, guys. This is crazy. I love this. Honestly, so many people are tuning in right now. Wow. All right, the energy is getting me hyped. And I did take pre-workout today, yes. I know that some of you OGs are asking like, oh, this is pretty cool. Okay, so done. Let's go back. And let's head over here. So we've got to create a native stack navigator, right? So what we can essentially do, the natural next step would be this, create a stack navigator. However, this is only if you want to use a single screen, right? Or only one stack navigator. So if you've seen any of my other builds, like Tinder, for example, or any of those, I did this approach. And this is basically easy if you just want several screens where you can click into it and it has that little back on the header, and then you can go back and forth between pages. But what if you want to go ahead and mix pages and have modals popping up and all this other stuff? Well, in that case, we're going to introduce something called a root navigator. So we're going to change the pattern slightly, and I'm going to show you how we do this, right? And we are going to be layering it up with TypeScript. So again, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but don't worry, just take your time and enjoy the process. Okay, so we are going to be doing this, creating a stack, but I'm going to show you how we're going to do it instead, right? So I want you to go ahead and create a folder and call this folder Navigator. Right, so you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it Navigator. I'm going to create a file inside of here, and I'm going to call this our root navigator. And this is like the parent navigator that's going to handle all the navigation inside of our application. Okay, so root navigator, magical class. Okay, and I'm going to do React Native functional export. Right, so there you go. We got the root navigator. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and actually start pulling some stuff into this from what we had before. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pop in the following line here, create native stack navigator, right? So we're going to go ahead and pop this in at the top above our root navigator. And as you can see, it highlights, so control spacebar and import it, right? So nice little trick there. You can go ahead and do that. All right, so some people are saying, do I need to do yarn or can I use npm? So the way to quickly check, guys, is if you've got package lock, use npm. If you've got a yarn lock file, use yarn, right? If you want to switch, that's fine. Use npm and it'll create a package lock, but then delete the yarn lock. So you have to switch. You can't be using, if you have a package lock and a yarn lock, you're in a bad place. Delete one of them and then use the appropriate, all right? Don't use both. It's going to end up bad. All right. Thank you so much, because from 3K subs and LinkedIn clone to 165,000, Papa Fam's come a long way. Cheers to us. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Celebrating as a family. That's the way we're doing it, right? Crazy stuff. So this is the first thing you want to do, stack, right? So I'm going to rename this to call it the root stack. And what I'm going to now do is, instead of this, I'm going to say root stack dot navigator, right? So our parent here is going to be root stack dot navigator. And then what we need to do is basically add in our separate screens, right? Now, in the example here, you can see they straight away start adding in screens. Now, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something called a group, and we're going to have separate types of groups for separate scenarios. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to handle this trickier part. We're going to handle the tabs. So I'm going to show you how we can implement tabs. Okay, so inside of our root navigator, which is like our parent navigator, I'm going to have something called a root stack. So root stack dot, and I'm going to go ahead and say group. Okay, now inside of this, I'm going to go ahead and create something called a tab navigator. So I'm going to create a new file called tab navigator, and this is going to be responsible for all the screens that you see that are going to be tabbed and so forth. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, React Native functional export component. So we've got our tab navigator over here, And we're going to go back over here. Now, inside of here, what I want you to do is type in root stack.screen. Okay. And here we're going to give it a name. So every single screen in your app needs a name. So in this case, I'm going to give this one the name of main. You can call it whatever you want. Honestly, I'm going to call it main. And then I'm going to give it a component. Okay. And in this case, the tab navigator is the component I want to give it to. And I need to import the tab navigator like so. Okay. And then what we're going to do is hit save. And then inside the tab navigator, we're going to eventually build this one out. Now, we are using TypeScript, which means I want our app to be type checking. Right? I want it to basically not allow me to make mistakes if I, for example, wrote something like main ABC or something like that. Yeah, I don't want it to allow me to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start implementing our first ever type definitions. Now, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. All it essentially means is that we are telling JavaScript that if you use a variable or if you use something like that, check the type, hence type checking, right? It's strongly typed language basically is an extension. And basically what we're doing here is we're going to say that this needs to be of this type. Don't let me do it any other way. If I do it another way, it's going to go ahead and break, right? It doesn't let me get past it. So that reduces the number of bugs inside of our app. So bear with me, this is getting fun, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say export, because I'm going to use it outside, type, and we're going to create a type definition for the root stack. So we're going to say root stack param list, and this is all in the documentation. I'm just going to explain it in the way that I prefer, right? First one I'm going to write is main, and you see here we have undefined. Okay, so firstly I wrote main because I have a screen or a group here, right? So the tab navigator, we're going to give it a name here of main, right? So the key for it is main, but it has no props, so we're not going to pass any value in. But for the modal that you see that pops up, for example, over here, in this case, I will have some props. I'm going to have things like the user ID, so I know which order to show. I'm going to have the name, so I know if it's Lucas or if it's someone else, if it's Bob. And then for the order screen, I'm going to have the order ID and so forth to go ahead and pass data through it. So we are going to have more inside of this afterwards. And in fact, let's just go ahead and prepare ourselves now. Eventually, we're going to have a modal, and this modal is going to have a user ID, which is going to be a string, and it's going to have a name, which is going to be a string also. And then we're also going to have a final screen, which is going to be called the order screen. And this is going to take a order, and it's going to have a type of order. Okay. And this order does not exist yet, hence why we're getting this error. So for now, I'm going to put any, but we are going to replace this, right? Do not have any left in your code. It's a bad practice, right? But in this case, we are going to go ahead and do this. Quick little water break before we carry on. You guys have been incredible so far. Smash the thumbs up button. We're about to hit 400 likes. We're doing really, really well today. This is amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for the positivity. This is really, really cool at the moment. Okay. All right, let's go. So we're going to keep that as any for now, and I'm going to show you how to create the type definitions. And we're going to do that when we go ahead and pull in our data from our Firebase database using StepZen. Okay, so there's going to be a whole segment on StepZen coming up very shortly. Okay, so we've done our first screen. So let's go into our tab navigator now and create our tab navigator. So that way we can have our two screens, one responsible for the customer screen, one responsible for the order screen. So as you can see, our app is going to allow us to show all the customers, and you can click a customer and see any of the deliveries. And then we're going to have the order screen, which is going to show all of the orders instead of the customers, and you can see the customer on an order, and you can click it and it's going to pull this up. And by the way, that's going to be the same component there and there. So you're going to know how to do that by the end of this as well. So lots of cool stuff to learn today. Right. So first thing I want you to do is inside a tab navigator, we're going to go ahead and create something called a bottom tab navigator. Okay. So what this is essentially that bottom tab navigator that you're seeing over here that has customers and orders on it. Right, I'm going to show you how we create that. So first thing you want to do is type in const tab equals create bottom tab navigator. Now what I want you to do here is control spacebar, and usually it will pop up, but if it doesn't pop up, it's fine. You can manually import it like so. Okay, and this is because I haven't installed this, that's why. Right, so in this case, if it says you haven't installed it, copy this and we're going to install it. Right, in fact, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to be safe, and I'm going to pop in bottom tabs, and I'm going to actually install it here before I carry on. So where is my tab navigation? Here we go. So you can see inside the documentation, it would have told us to do it. I just forgot to do it. Right, so we're going to install it into our app. So you can see I've installed it using our separate terminal down here. Is this a good pace for you guys? I think it is because our retention is awesome, right? Almost at 400 likes. Smash the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this right now. Hit save. You will now see that this will disappear in just a second. It will, I promise. Let's go back to Tab Navigator. Did it install? Bottom tabs, npm install. Yeah, okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Let's pop it back in. Okay, it will go away in a second. Strange. React navigation, bottom tabs, npm I, React navigation, bottom tabs. Okay, yeah, it will go. That's fine. Interesting. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and build this out. So I'm going to go and do the following. So I'm going to say tab dot, is this going to help me out? Okay, so it's not helping me out here. So this is just VS Code being slow. It's fine. It's somebody says try to reload your window. I do want to do that, but then it's going to basically cause my other screens to go, and I've got everything laid out in a nice way right now. So I don't want to have to do that, but that's fine. It will basically come on and it'll work. Right. So at this point inside of view, I want you to type in tab.navigator, right? And in this case, you'll have loads of things popping up and helping you out with this. I haven't got it, so I'm just going to do it blindly and it'll work. You installed it in the wrong directory. No, I have not. This is the correct directory. Okay. So in this point, we've got it there. So what we're now going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in a tab screen. Okay. And this tab screen is going to be for the customer screen. So remember that customer screen we created earlier? We're going to import that and we're going to call this one the customers. And I'm going to copy and paste and I'm going to make it an orders screen as well. So we're going to have two different screens. So this is plural order screen. And this one is going to call orders. Somebody said remove the @ sign. I don't think I need to do that, guys. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You see, it's the same thing. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So at this point, what we're now going to do is somebody said remove this. That's not it, guys. See? Right. So this way, don't worry, it's fine. We can carry on. Okay. So at this point, what I need you to do is we're going to go into our app and we're going to basically go ahead and create this order screen as well. So add in the order screen inside of our screens folder. So we're going to say orders screen.tsx, our React Native functional exploit component. Jay says, gotta love the community. That is what I'm talking about. Then I say, this is the orders screen. Orders screen. No, guys, honestly, this has happened before. It just happens when I'm live sometimes. It's all good. Okay. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and import it like so. Bam, hit save. And we're going to go and see what's up. So Tab Navigator, we have imported and this is all good. And we have everything looking pretty nice so far. And I want to see, is this attached right now? Customer screen 1, 2, 3, hit save. It is there. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do is we did a bunch of different changes. So I'm going to restart my Expo. So at this point, Control C to basically cut my Expo. You can see it stop the server, Expo start. I'm going to do a hard start on this. Okay. And give it a second. Cyril says, this guy is really contributing back to the community. That's really nice. The kind of content shouldn't be free. Thank you, dude. I really do want to create developers in the world. So this is why we do what we do. And then we offer 0 to full stack hero if you just want to join a community where we do it all the time. And that supports the growth and allows us to do what we do. So thank you. That's how 0 to full stack hero is born and maintained. So I appreciate every single one of you. Hit I to go ahead and open on iOS. And as you can see, disconnected from Metro. So whenever this happens, I just tend to swipe up like that, get rid of it. And then you can see it will open up again. You just got to be a little bit patient, as I mentioned. Okay. Ariane says, your ability to teach in real time is amazing. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that feedback. All right, let's continue on. All right, we're smashing it right now. Nearly at 400 likes. Let's go, guys. Oh my God, Jay, this is cool, man. We got a lot of people right now. All right, so amazing stuff, guys. Let's wait until that goes ahead and builds out and we should be good to see what we have. Okay, so we got the customer screen. Everything's exactly as I wanted it. Okay, that's fine. It's strange though, because this isn't actually implemented the way I want it right now. Maybe it's because, let's go back to our app.tsx. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. I see why. All right, my bad. So go back to your app.tsx. I went so far ahead, I forgot. Right, and instead of the customer screen, we're going to add our root navigator. Root navigator. There we go. Right, and we're going to delete the styles. We don't need that anymore. So what I want you to do is, whenever you're building any kind of app, I want you to make sure that your app.tsx is always a high level view of your app. right? It shouldn't be this very kind of, low level kind of setup. It should be a high level view of your app, right? You shouldn't have your presentational logic at your top level. Absolutely not. Guys, 400 likes, incredible stuff. We have over 350 viewers across different platforms. I can't believe it. Their attention right now is insane. Thank you guys. Let's just kill this one. So Root Navigator, hopping into this. Now you can see we've got a lot more happening, right? We've got the customers header, and then we got this main as well. Now, the first thing is, the reason why you're seeing two headers is because we have nested navigators inside of this app. So in order to fix that, the first thing I need you to do is go into, we're actually going to get rid of the main afterwards, so we can do that afterwards. That's fine. Go into the tab navigator. Okay, inside of your tab navigator, I'm going to show you a neat little trick. Now, the first thing is, remember I had type checking before, so we need to do that as well here, right? So I'm going to actually go ahead and create type definitions right now. We're going to say export type tab stack param list, right? And these are going to be our typing definitions. So in this case, we've got customers, and that is going to have nothing passed through it, and we're going to have orders with undefined as well. So I hit save, and I'm going to pass this as a template over here, or generic template, whatever they call it. Okay, now you can see if I try to do customers ABC, this will actually freak out. It's just because this ain't loading for some reason, right? But for you guys, it will freak out. It will make sure that you do not make this mistake, okay? So at this point, that's pretty good, right? So we've got customers and everything there. I wonder if I can restart to update. No, don't do that, all right? That's fine. Here we go. So customers, and there we go. So in this case, that's exactly how you want to do it, and it will basically prevent you from entering in the wrong information. The next thing I want you to do is actually go ahead, and we're going to pull the navigation object. And the reason being is because I'm going to basically tell this tab navigator, I don't want you to show a header. Okay, so I tried to close it. Don't worry, guys, it's fine. All right, we're going to say const navigation equals use navigation. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called use layout effect, which basically is similar to a use effect. And if you do not know what a use effect is, please go ahead and benefit from my React Basics 101. The link is somewhere in the description. It's on Skillshare for absolutely free right now, or the full course is at papareact.com/course. But yeah, if you want a free sort of basically basics rundown of React, including the use layout, the use effect, then you can go ahead and check it out. All right, so now I want you to go ahead and type in navigation set options, and inside there, add an object with header shown false. Hit save, and now you can see it gets rid of the header. So as you can see, that's how we go ahead and get rid of the header. You can also do it at the root navigator level, but as I mentioned, I like keeping it neat. Okay, so we've got it looking pretty neat right now. Now, as you can see, we're getting there somewhat, right? We've got orders and we've got customers. Now notice how when I click the tab navigation, it goes ahead and changes the screen. Very good step. Okay, Code PR says, I learned the use effect from you. Thank you, dude. That's amazing to hear. Awesome stuff. Nearly at 500 likes. Let's go. Oh, man. Okay, so first step now that I want you to do is go ahead and we're going to customize this screen right here. So we're going to get the basis for this screen. I'm also going to do the icons over here, and then we're going to move over to StepZen, import some data in, and start moving with that. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and do the following. So we're actually going to handle the icons first at the bottom. Right, I'm going to show you how you would do that inside of React Native navigation. So we're actually going to be using something called React Native Elements. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can install it. So React Native Elements. Right, so this is a pretty cool kind of cross-platform UI toolkit for React Native. Right, so in this case, you can go ahead, click get started, and you can go ahead and get this installed. So Expo CLI, you can go ahead and do the following. So Expo in it, we've already done this. We need to go ahead and add it to an existing app. So in this case, we need to do, this is yarn add, but we're going to do npm add instead of this, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to run this first one. So I want you to copy everything except the yarn add, because we're going to do npm install. And what I want you to do now, guys, is basically shift that over there, shift that over there. Let's go ahead and install it. So I'm saying, oh, oops. So before all of that, I'm going to say npm I. Okay, that's going to install those dependencies into our project. Then after that, I'm going to do npm I -- dev and the rest of it. And basically that means these are the developer dependencies that aren't going to get packaged into our production build. So npm I -- dev means it's only going to be in the development portion of when we're actually using it. But when we actually deploy it, it doesn't need to include those things. Like, for example, TypeScript is a developer dependency because you don't need that in production. Okay, this is going crazy good. Let's go. Okay, so at this point, we are now gonna go ahead and use it. So we can do config overrides. I don't think I bothered to do that last time and it worked, but you can do that. I'm not gonna go crazy and do everything. I don't think we even need to do all of this right now. Right, I think I'm just gonna use it. This is for using it on the web. Oh my God, sorry guys, I completely skipped out a bunch of stuff. Oh no, okay, don't do that. That's if you wanna do it on the Create React app. Okay, my bad. I completely messed that one up. Go to npm at the top, right? This is what I was thinking. I was like, I'm sure that it shows me, right? So instead, okay, let that install. Don't worry about it, right? If you want the actual code, it's on the GitHub repo. You can uninstall it. I'm not going to waste time doing that in this build. Let that happen. Okay, the npm install. There we go. I was thinking of myself, I'm sure it had it. And then we're going to go ahead and stable bleeding edge. We've done that already. npm install React Native themed. We've already done that as well. Cool. And the peer dependencies. Here we go. React Native vector icons. So let's go ahead and do that. And we don't need to do anything else after that. Oh, a safe area context you can already do. I think it actually already does that inside of Expo. So I don't think we have to do that. Yeah, I don't think we actually have to do that. Okay. So at this point, we're pretty good. Right, so we can actually start using this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and import an icon. I'm going to show you how we can use it. So here you go. We got an icon from React Native Elements. And what we can actually go ahead and do is we can go down to icon. And here you can see we've got examples of how to use it. Now, what I want you to do is hit the React Native Vector Icons button. And here you can actually see if we go down to where is it? Browse All button. Okay, here you'll get a nice kind of browsing section. So I always keep this open on the side, and then you can basically type in a box, for example, and it'll show you all these different libraries, and then you can go ahead and actually use the icons like you need to. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and actually use this as, like, I'm going to show you how to use this. Okay, so that's how you would find them, but actually how we're going to use it is the following way. So inside of our tab navigator, guys, what I want you to do is we're going to use something called screen options. And here, I want you to go ahead and put up curly brackets. Now, inside these curly brackets, we're going to go ahead and get something called the root, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put parentheses, and I'm going to have an arrow function with a return, right? So in this case, a parentheses. And this is going to have an object inside of it, okay? So take it one step at a time. Now, inside of here, we get something. We're going to destructure it, and we're going to say, we're going to get the root out of this object here, right? And in this case, we're freaking out because okay, so this is where I need to maybe restart. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is UPS clone YouTube StepZen. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm actually going to do us a solid and see if I can actually restart this up. Okay, because that's actually kind of annoying. I need it to work the way I need it to work. So documents builds, I'm just going back into this right now, CD into this code, and let's just kind of get this up and running again. So sometimes, you know, it tends to bug out a little bit. It's okay, we can forgive it. But there you go, a little restart and we should be good to go. We go back into our app and we should have the correct dependencies getting loaded out. Okay, so it should not be complaining now. Okay. Right, let's see this. Right. What machine is you using, bro? So many tabs. I'm using a M1 Max. All right, so at this point, you can see now it's not complaining, okay? So here, when I destructure, I can actually see I get root and navigation. So now it recognizes that. So I wasn't lying to you, okay? Now here, inside this bracket, we can add different kind of customization aspects. So the first thing I want to do is I want to have different colors based on the bottom tab, right? So as you can see down here, we've disconnected. So I don't want to disconnect. So we're going to reset our environment up. So the first one, I'm going to do Expo start. The second one, we're going to have that Tailwind compiler command. If you do forget it, package.json, it is this one here, dev Tailwind. And then we can go back here and we can say npm run dev Tailwind. And now you can see I've got back to the setup. On the first screen, I can hit I to open on iOS. And there you go, we're back. So nothing to get freaked out about if you kind of fall behind. Don't worry about it. Look, we're back, right? So at this point, that's everything running. If you want to restart your app, hit R, and you can see R once you're on this terminal, and it will actually go ahead and build it out like so. Okay, so we're back on track, right? So at this point, I want to go ahead and customize a few things. So you see these two colors over here. Right now it's gray if it's inactive and it's that color if it's not. I'm going to change it to the color that we eventually want it to. So here you can see I've added two different colors in. One is called tab bar active color, and you can see now it's gone to a cyan. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to change it to red, and you'll see now it's a red, right? So red and gray. So in this case, I've changed it to a theme color that we want. So this is the one that you eventually see over here. So now we've got our colors down. What about the icons? Okay, so for the icons, I'm going to go ahead and customize a different property. Here I'm going to go ahead and say the tab bar icon, and as you can see, GitHub Copilot's helping me out here, but I'm going to do a parentheses, a return statement, and curly brackets. Right inside of these parentheses is an arrow function, and the callbacks here are basically going to be focused, which means if it's clicked, you've got color and you've got size. Now I'm not going to actually use these two, but I'll leave them there for reference. Now you've got focused, right? Now for this one, here you can see also TypeScript is actually protecting us here. It's making sure, look at that. Wow, that's crazy, right? So here I want to say if root name, okay, is equal to, and as you can see, TypeScript knows already what the roots are based on our type stack parameter list, right? So you guys can see how TypeScript actually protects us in a really nice way, okay? So in this case, I'm going to say if the screen is customers, then I'm going to return a specific icon, so that way you can actually see the final outcome, right? And if it's focused, I'm going to change the color and so forth, right? So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to return the icon, and if it's focused, I'm going to say it's our theme color, otherwise it's going to be a gray, okay? And then I'm going to say else, there we go. I'm going to put another icon, right? And actually, you know what, I'm not going to do just else generically. I'm going to say else if the root name is equal to orders, and you see how it knows now that we're in an else, so it knows that we've already used customers, and now we just got the orders left, right? Here I'm going to say return parentheses and pop in this, and this is the box, and it's of a certain type, right? So I've actually gone ahead and checked this beforehand for you guys. If I hit save on that now, what we should see once it finishes refreshing is we should see our nice little icons hit up on the screen. Hey, there we go. Now you can see that's perfect, right? The only thing that's off is that the orders is not getting colored correctly, but we will fix that inside of the orders screen. Okay, so we'll do that when we get to the order screen, but that's a pretty good starting point for now. Okay, so now we can go ahead and carry on building out our screen. So heading over to the customer screen right now, and yeah, you can see this is quite a lot going on, so we're actually moving pretty well. So well done for sticking with me, right? And guys, we're almost at 500 likes, almost at 500,000 likes. Thank you so much. If you're enjoying this, smash the thumbs up button. Keep on going, guys. Absolutely incredible stuff. Right, so the right, so give me 1 second, guys. Right, so let's go ahead and do this. So now what I want you to do is I want to go ahead and build out some of the customer screen. Okay, so heading over to the customer screen now, I'm going to go ahead and first surround our entire customer screen in something called a scroll view, and think of it like a scrollable div, right? So rather than having like overflow and that kind of stuff, a scroll view allows us just to have something which you can scroll. So now you can see that's actually scrollable, whereas in orders, that's not scrollable. I'm clicking it and I'm moving it, nothing's happening. Whereas in this one, it's allowing me to scroll. Okay, so firstly, good step. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and hide the header for the customer screen. So what I'm going to now do is go ahead and say const navigation. So const navigation equals use navigation, pull that in like so. And remember, we're using TypeScript, so I'm actually going to have to go ahead and pass in what we need over here to go ahead and give it the correct type definition. So now this is a little bit more complicated because we're inside of a root navigator, which is inside of a tab navigator is nested inside of a root navigator. So you've got nested stacks here. So what I'm going to show you now is how to create something called a composite navigation prop, which is basically a fancy way of saying combine up the navigation stuff, so that way you have all the types that you're going to need. Okay, so I'm going to show you how a cheat code does how to do it. Right here we say export type, and I'm going to call it the customer screen navigation prop. Okay, and this basically means that it's going to stop me from making any kind of mistake, and we're going to use something called the composite navigation prop. Composite navigation prop, and we're going to import it from React Native. This is going to take a generic inside of it, and as you can see now, what I'm going to do is I'm slowly going to import things as we need it. So firstly, I'm going to use a bottom tab navigator prop, right? Navigation prop. and that is going to have its own generic, and that generic is the one that we had for tab stack parameters. So this is the one that we created over here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead, and in here we have to tell it which screen we were in as a second argument. So this is the customer screen. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and do comma, and basically you see it's called composite because we're combining a bunch, right? Then we're going to have native stack navigation prop. Right, it's navigation prop. So this one here, and this is going to have the, if you haven't guessed already, the root stack. So basically what I've done here is I've essentially gone ahead and combined them. So in this case, where I had the root stack param list, I need to go ahead and pop that in here, root stack param list. And this is being weird. Why? Where's root stack param list? Oh, we're not even pulling in. What the hell? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and import that like so. Bam. There we go. Okay, now we have a really kind of nice way of combining it together. It looks a bit ugly, but you can go ahead and kind of, you know, if you really want to, you can refactor it out and it's going to help you out. So we're going to take that navigation prop and we're going to put it in there, right? And eventually you could create separate type definition files to kind of keep your code neat. Again, we're limited for time, so I'm going to do all of that in one video, right? So now we've basically got this and it's looking pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is the use layout effect, which is essentially a use effect, but it's when the UI mounts, okay, as well as any dependency here. So when the UI mounts, we're going to say navigation.set options, and instead of this, I'm going to say header shown false, header shown false. Right, false, like so, bam. And as you can see, waha, it goes away. So really nice, already it's gone, and that looks pretty good. Now the reason why I'm keeping that is because I want my picture to actually go up inside that view. So what I'm actually going to use here is, rather than a boring text string, I'm going to go ahead and say I want an image, right? And this image is going to be from the React Native library, not from the theme library. So you can do it from a few different places. I'm actually just going to take the one from, actually I think we did use it. No, we did use that one. So if I type in image, I did use the themed import, right? This one here, right? And then what we do is this will take a source, right? So the source in this case has a object inside of it, and it's the URI is going to be, I've shortened this URL for you guys so you guys can feel free to use it. I've helped you out a little bit. There you go. Bam, hit save, and let's see our app, right? You can't see anything yet because we haven't got any style to it. So now what I'm going to do is the second argument is called the container style. So container style is going to have our tailwind, and we're going to add some styling here. The width is going to be 4 and the height is going to be a value of 64. And as you can see now, we should in a second possibly, yay, there we go. Nice, good stuff, right? And if you really want to, you can actually have an activity indicator show if it's loading. So you can see here we've got placeholder content, and you can actually put something like a activity loader if you really want to, or something like loader or whatever. I'm just going to keep that there so you guys can feel free to do it. SS is loading right now. So if I was to refresh our app by hitting R, you can see, and the reason why I'm saying unsupported class is just because it took time to compile. Okay, but now if you can catch it, there's like an activity indicator right at the top, but I mean, you might want it, you might not. The point is you can change it up for whatever the hell you want, right? But I'm going to leave it there for now. So we've got our image up. That looks pretty good. Okay, I mean, it looks okay. And then we're going to go ahead and, for the scroll view, I'm going to go ahead and give it a background color, which matches the color of that image, right? So in this case, I'm not using our Tailwind because I've got a custom color. So I'm going to be combining the two where it's necessary. And yeah, again, you can mix and match as you wish, as you see fit. It really doesn't matter. Again, there's a million ways to do the same thing here. So hit save, and now you can see we've got a nice background color matching the top. Already our app is looking pretty good. Okay, so really, really nice. Chris, I really like your comment, man. He goes, I owe a large part of success to Sunny when I got a job as a React dev. Been doing WordPress and PHP forever. It's time for a change. Jay, please capture that. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Anyone else has success from this channel, thank you for sharing your stories. Please do. It means the world. It goes up on the testimonial wall at papareact.com/testimonials, because that is our wall of fame, and we love and appreciate the success from you guys. Ashbury says, are you live? There you go. Okay, let's go, guys. Let's get the music back up as well. I'm going to kind of get this vibe going. All right, let me change the music up. I've got my whole playlist here. All right, let's see. Bam. Okay, this is cool. Get some focused vibe. All right, so we got image here, and then we're going to go ahead and have a little bit of the UI. So I'm going to have the search by customer as well, and then we can implement that afterwards. But the whole point is, right, I just wanted you to have something before we can go ahead and keep on adding in the backend stuff, right? So that way you've got something to look at. All right, so you got the input, There you go. We're going to import this from, let's use the themed, right? So there we go. We got an input, and you can see it's an underlined element, and it's actually there, believe it or not. It just doesn't, it's hard to see. Command K brings up the keyboard on your simulator, right? The base guy, thank you, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you, Faizan. Appreciate you guys. Mobix says Jay is the Robin to the Batman. Hey, Jay is awesome, man. He's cooler than a Robin. Give him something. Come on. We're gonna go ahead and add a placeholder, and we're gonna go ahead and say search by customer. Hit save, and as you can see, it says search by customer, and then we're gonna have a value, and I'm gonna hook this up to a piece of state inside of React. Again, React Basics 101, free in the description. Jay will drop a link now, and you can go ahead and feel free to benefit from that. Prickshire says, I got a job at Walmart as a reactive developer just because of you. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. Jay, you screenshot that. And Official Sky, that is amazing. Everyone's getting jobs. This is so cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and grab some stuff here. We're going to get an input, set the input. I'm going to say equals use state. There we go. Bam. Okay, and you can actually cast the state here. So if you want to kind of make sure it's only a string, you can make sure it's only a string, and you can give it a value of like so, right? And then that way it won't allow me to do that. You see, if I do a number, it freaks out. It says, whoa, you ain't allowed to do that. Someone's coming from the Dominican Republic. Awesome stuff. Simon says, Sonny, we love you as you bring new content to those willing to learn new techniques. Keep on, Simon from Kenya. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate you. I think you joined the Papa fam today, didn't you? Thank you for joining, dude. It's awesome to have you inside the family. So we're going to set the value to that piece of state here. And what's really nice inside of React Native, you have this on change text, as opposed to the input field in HTML, we have on change, I think it is, or on key press, or no, I forgot what it is, but you know what I'm talking about. On change, then you have an event handler and so forth. Here, you actually get the text as you type in, and it's an arrow function. And you can basically just set the input text. And what you can do as a shorthand to this is you can actually just go ahead and do this all in one line. So I'm going to hit save now, but you can change this all into set input, and it does it for you. There you go. That does it, and it still works. And you can prove that because you can still type. So there you go. Now we've got that stored in input. We can use it later on. Nice, cool. I'm going to change the container style here to have some Tailwind styling inside of it. I'm going to have the background set to white. I'm going to have padding on the top of 5, padding on the bottom. Padding on the bottom of 0, and padding on the x-axis of 10. Okay, looking good. In just a second, wait for it. Pow, there you go. Right, so slowly getting there, looking really, really nice. Whoa, Chris, thank you, dude. $20 donation, much love, Sonny. I appreciate you, man. That means everything. Thank you so much, dude. I'm gonna get some sushi later. Thank you, dude. I really like that. And also, we're nearly at 1,000 likes. Thank you guys again. I can't stop saying it enough. Really, really amazing stuff. Right, so we have this looking pretty good so far. Let's actually pause at this point and start working on the back end, I think. So, I have the pop-up coming in on this. 1 second, guys. I'm going to actually pull my audio in through my headphones right now. It's coming through in a weird way. There we go. Now it should be all dialed in. Cool stuff. All right. Damn, we love sushi. I do love sushi, guys. I haven't actually had it in a while. All right. So at this point, tangents. We're going to go ahead and actually set up StepZen. Okay, so to get started with StepZen, guys, what I want you to go ahead and do is, firstly, I just want to show you how you can do this, right? You can actually set everything up here, all this kind of good stuff. You can actually go ahead and mess around with any of this, really, to go ahead and get started. But we're going to go ahead and just basically set up fresh inside of our code, and I'll show you how we're going to do it. So close everything, so that way you've got a fresh slate. Inside of package.json, click it so that way you're at the top level. And I want you to go ahead and, oh, sorry, I'm not going to do that just yet. Yeah, we're going to go close this up, pull this over here. And I want you to go ahead and create a new, why can't I split my terminal? Okay, I'm going to create a new one. So I've got the split terminals over here. I've got another terminal here. I'm going to type in StepZen, because we did that setup earlier. I'm going to say StepZen init. Okay. And this will go ahead and set up StepZen inside of my environment, right? I'm sure it's StepZen in it. It's been a while. There we go. What would you like your endpoint to be called? So at this point, I really don't mind what my endpoint is called. So I'm going to just leave it with API Vocal Leopard, right? So that's mine. Create a StepZen workplace. There we go. So let's see what we've got here. I've now got screens. Let me refresh. Where is my StepZen? LS StepZen. Where is that? Oh, StepZen config. Okay, I'll tell you what, guys. Actually, cut that. I'm going to show you how we can do it better, actually. What I want you to do is I'm actually going to get rid of that. And instead, I'm going to create a folder called StepZen. And there's a reason for this. I want to keep it nice and neat, right? It's always handy to have your code looking a lot more neater, right? So at this point, I'm going to go cd StepZen. And inside of here now, I'm going to say StepZen init, okay? And this is going to go ahead and we're going to be called Dusty Gopher right now, right? So now inside of StepZen, I have my config file, okay? So that's a bit nicer, that's cleaner, okay? So the first thing I really want to do here is I want to get my first kind of endpoint. Now, how does any of this work, right? Like, how do you get StepZen to create me this GraphQL API that you keep talking about? It's actually way easier because of the awesome work that they've done over there. So we're going to use the REST API documentation. And as you can see here, you can actually go ahead and even use authentication headers as well. But we made it kind of easy to stay today. We've actually got a pretty simple one. Basically, we're going to run a command called StepZen import. We're going to use a curl command, okay? Now, I'm going to show you how this works first, and then I'm going to show you how StepZen utilizes it to actually build out these endpoints that we're after. So first thing we're going to do is head over to our Firebase. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is if I click into customers, you can see this top part right here. These are actually URLs, guys. So this entire thing is a URL right here. So you can see where we've got this /customers. So if I click into customers right now, here at the top, we actually have a really kind of handy, unique URL, okay? So I'm going to show you how this works right now. So first thing I want to do is I want to copy that reference URL. Now, as you can see, if I went to that URL, it's going to pull my customers that we need. Okay, so I'm actually logged into the wrong account. Let's go back here. There we go. And what I'm actually looking for here is let's go ahead and grab this. I need to, there's a really nice way of doing this. Create database. How do I do this again? Just copy it. There we go. Bam. Hit save. Okay, I'll show you a different way. All right. So at this point, what I want you to do is go in here and I want you to type in curl and paste that. Right. And you should see customers. Okay, so I'm getting the wrong URL here. I did a different command now and I can't remember which one I did. Let me find it quickly and then I'll come back in just a second. So the one that I'm after right now is actually, so we got HTTPS, the demo was, okay, that's it. Yeah, I found it. All right, so what you want to do is you want to paste it in .json. There you go. And now, as you can see, I get my JSON come back. Okay. Now, one thing I want to point out here, guys, is as you can see, my JSON document comes back like so. Okay. So as you can see, each of these are a different ID. So if I was to actually go ahead and do something like this, /ID.json, you can actually see that it goes and gets that exact document. So as you can see, this is actually a nice curl kind of API that we can actually go ahead and access our documents from. Okay. And if we went over here, I don't know if it'll work at that level. No, it won't work at that level. Right, but we've got orders /orders.json as well. And you can go ahead and pull in the orders and so forth. So you can see all I have here is a massive JSON tree, right? And I want to basically make this way more easier to navigate and work with. And we're at 1,000 likes. I had to pause and say, wow, thank you. That's crazy, dude. Thank you so much, guys. So at this point, what we're going to do is use that curl request to generate a GraphQL response. Right, so first thing I want you to do is type in curl. Thank you, Umar Mohammed Nakari. Incredible donation. NGN, I think that's Nigerian. It's 1,000. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Sonny, for the amazing video. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much. Here, I want you to go ahead and type in .json as well. And you should see you get a response back. So curl requests are essentially the way that we do what I did on the browser inside our terminal. So we can use that information and basically connect it with StepZen. Right, so I'm going to show you how we do that. So where the hell is my StepZen docs? Another one. Oh, there we go. Thank you, guys. That's a lovely donation. Here we go. So we're going to type in StepZen import, and then we'll write that request. And I will show you a few additional flags we can add on to it as well to make life easier. Okay. So the first one I care about is get orders. So this endpoint is going to be for the orders that we are going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and use the following. I'm going to say StepZen import curl, and then I'm going to paste in the following. I'm going to, oh no, not definitely not that. Let's go back to our Firebase. And Andre Smith, what? Thank you, dude. €10 donation. Thank you so much. He goes, I hope this motivates you to keep going. You are awesome, and thanks so much for all you do for us. Thank you so much, Andre Smith. This is crazy. I actually cannot believe the generosity from you guys. Thank you. That means the entire world. Right? I really, really appreciate that, dude. here we have the customers. I'm going to go into orders. This is going to be my first one. And I'm going to go ahead and do the following. Okay, so I'm going to copy the reference URL. I'm going to go over to my terminal. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to do .json. And here I'm going to add in a few additional things. So I'm going to add in -- query type. Okay, query type. And for this value, I'm going to give it a type. And in this case, I'm going to call the type order with a capital O. And then I'm going to have -- name. Right, no, 1 second. I've got query, no, sorry. Yeah, -- type. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, 1 second, I've completely lost my focus. I'm going to say order. There you go, space. I'm going to say -- query name. And for this query name, I'm going to actually call this one get orders. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and say -- name. And for this one, I'm just going to have the same thing I had before, but it's going to be lowercase o. And that's basically it's going to set it up in a way that it's going to make sense for our folder structure, right? So if I hit enter now, watch the magic that's about to happen, all powered by StepZen, right? So check this out, hit enter and watch this, guys. It's going to go ahead and import. So as you can see, what just happened here is actually incredibly powerful. So do not blink because this is really cool. I'm about to show you, okay? So we go into StepZen folder and notice how it's order based on the name I gave. We then go inside, we get an index.graphql file and notice how we have inside of here our type, our query, right? And as you can see here, we've got our orders. Now here we've got our JSON response, and the reason being it came back as JSON response is because we had some invalid identifiers, but sometimes it can come back and it can actually calculate the exact types for us, which is really impressive, right? But essentially what we've done here is we've got the endpoint and this has returned a bunch of JSON data. So I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and take this and basically build out a really nice kind of response that we can go ahead and use. So I'm going to get rid of that. Inside of here, I'm actually going to go ahead and create a type, and this type is going to be of type order. Now, the type itself, the order, notice how this is a GraphQL definition, not a TypeScript definition, okay? So first thing I want you to do is actually install the GraphQL extension because you're going to need that to get syntax highlighting. So I want you to go ahead and install, I think one of them, I think by default it will, here you go, I've got this one. Install whatever one you want, it's fine. Let's go. So we're going up to the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in the following data types. So I'm going to add in a chunk of data types. Now these are all going to be what we pull in as value. So if I actually go to this URL, you will see that we get a bunch of these: address, city, longitude, latitude, tracking ID, and so forth. Now what I'm also going to do is eventually have something here called tracking items. Okay, what the hell is happening, guys? I have to say thank you again. Wops Games, €10 donate. Dude, thank you so much. He goes, Sunny is awesome. I love your courses. Thanks to your videos, I'm super fast with Tailwind CSS and Next.js. Guys, you guys are blowing my mind. Thank you so much. That's incredibly thank you, dude. That's huge. Oh man, thank you so much. Wow. Here we're going to have the tracking items, right? But notice something. I'm going to show you. This is where the power of StepZen comes in. That is what we have to play with, right? I can't see my tracking items, but what do I have? I actually have my tracking ID, and inside the data structure, inside the items in a different section of my tree, I've actually got some tracking information. So if we go back here, you can see tracking items has got a tracking ID. So if I was to open up one of these, for example, you see that tracking ID? If I go back, you can actually see that that belongs to one of these, and then that's got a bunch of items inside of it. So how the hell am I going to connect that up? Like, how would you even begin to do that? Right? Well, I'm going to show you how. It's really cool what they do there, right? Well, firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a separate request. So that way I can go ahead and create the appropriate connection to that backend. So I'm going to go ahead and actually do a similar thing that I did before. But now what I'm going to do is create something called, so let me go ahead and actually prepare myself for this one. I need to create get tracking item by ID. Okay, so this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I'm going to go over here back to our previous command, and I'm going to say tracking items / and then there's a trick here that you have to do, right? So if we go over to tracking items, just take one of your examples here. So in this case, if I was to copy and paste this, you see how we've got an example ID. Copy that. Okay, go back, go over here, and you just want to paste that ID. All right. And the reason why I'm doing this, by the way, is just to get an example of the first entry. And then I'll change it up and I'll have it however I need it, right? So the query type here is now going to be different. It's going to be for tracking items, right? And we're going to probably change this up around a bit. So tracking items, and I'm probably going to call this one tracking items list. The query name is going to be called get tracking items by ID. By ID. Okay, by ID. And the name here is going to be tracking items in lowercase, okay, in a camel casing. So hit enter. Now it's going to create an import. And as you can see, we have a beautiful new tracking items declaration. And look at that, guys. So primary example of what it did there. It figured it out for us and wrote the definitions. Like, what the hell? That is so powerful, guys. That's really actually pretty cool, right? It actually went ahead, based on the things that came back, it went ahead and created those items for us in the database. I'm going to create this. I'm going to basically rename this to make it items because I prefer items. It sounds better. And here instead, I'm actually going to go ahead and keep that as tracking items. That's fine. All right. So as you can see, it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to customize it a bit. This is basically a hard-coded value. So what I'm going to do is a nice little trick here. I'm going to add a parentheses and I'm going to say ID of type ID, and it's a required field. And then I'm going to go into here and I'm going to write $ID. So what I've essentially done there is I've made it dynamic now. So you pass in the ID and it will go ahead and create it. So very, very powerful stuff here. So now we've got an endpoint which allows us to get the tracking items. So this is connected to that curl request. Keep hold of that thought. Let's head back to our order. Now, what's really powerful about this is, remember how I told you that we previously had data, for example, inside of orders, and it just had this. So that's all we had. I didn't have access to the items though, right? Whoa. What we can do is we can cleverly connect it using StepZen's powerful materializer function, right? So this is a really nice thing about StepZen, and it makes you creating GraphQL endpoints really, really nice. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to write tracking items. And what we're going to do is basically, this is going to be of type tracking items. Okay. Now inside of here, I'm going to go in, no, tracking item, sorry. And then I'm going to indent and I'm going to say at materializer. So you can check out the docs if you want to know what exactly this does. But essentially what we're doing here is we're passing in a name of a function. So in this case, the name of the function is what we just created over here. So I'm actually going to pop this up on the screen. This is hyper focus mode, guys. Really, really stick with me here. Right. So I'm going to go into the name, pop this in, right, like so, right? I want this to go ahead and be in double quotes as well. Comma, no, it's not actually comma. We can just type in arguments. Now, this is where the magic happens. We pass in an array of information. Okay. This takes an object with key value pairs, right? The first one is going to be the name, and the name here is the name of the field for the parameter that we're passing in. So in this case, I'm actually going to be passing in a value which is going to replace the parameter for ID. And then the field that I want to connect it to inside of my own, where is it gone? Tracking ID. So in this case, we've got tracking ID here. I'm going to connect it to that field. So think about what I'm doing here, right? And I'm going to try and illustrate this as much as I can right here. So what we've essentially done is I've created a connection. So where we only previously got this information in our order, what I've now done is I've created a new item or a new variable called tracking items. And what it's done is it's used the tracking ID that we originally have. It's using the special function that we created over here. Okay. And it's basically passing this ID to that function, getting the response back. And basically, we know it belongs to this one because it's using its tracking ID, and it will append that as a response. So it's basically built another variable on top of what we originally have. Now, notice how some of these have annoying uppercase, lowercase. So just be careful with that. Just don't fall trick to that. All right. So look at this. Okay. So this is pretty powerful stuff, guys. So I'm going to hit save now, and we're going to see if we did this correct. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how we do this right now. So I'm going to type in StepZen start, right? Moment of truth. Hit enter. Let's see what happens. All right, so it's going to go ahead and start up our local environment. So now it says, okay, we made a little error here. So looks like I made an error inside of my tracking items Oh, here we are. That's why. Okay. So I actually made an error in my tracking items, and that's because I actually need to create a new type over here. So what I've actually not done correctly is I forgot to do something. So, okay, that's fine. So what really is happening here is we've got the tracking items by ID, and this is actually going to be a tracking items type. Okay, so this one is actually going to be tracking items. So we're going to change this to tracking items. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and materialize the customer as well here. So eventually we'll have the customer. So I'm going to create another one afterwards, and we're eventually going to connect the customer in the same way we just did. But for now, I'm going to try and start this up and show you that we can do this. So materialize because string requirement. Okay, that's fine. String is required, and we have our string over here. Let's continue on. So I think I made a slight hiccup somewhere. Let's go back to my my stuff over here, and we have my, okay, so let's debug. We're in debugging mode right now. So first steps first, tracking items. We've got our item, which is item ID, name, price, quantity. Nice. Tracking items itself actually has our customer ID and our items array. Cool. And then we have our tracking items being returned from our get tracking items by ID. Cool. That's all nice. Then we've got our order. Now inside of our order, we've actually got our carrier created at strip and tracking ID, which is of type string. Okay, cool. And then we've got tracking items. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. The only thing that we have messed up here is get orders. So get orders is actually going to return a type of order list. And we need to create that type. So I'm going to type order list. And this is going to have name, which is going to be an ID. And it's going to have value, which is going to be the order itself. Okay, so that's just the way that Firebase tends to give it back. Hit save. We're going to cut that and we're going to do StepZen start. Okay, so we've got the same error. All right, now we've got to debug this. Materialize argument query of type string is required, but it's not provided. Okay, so let me see where I've made a slight mistake. Tracking items, I've probably typed in something incorrectly. Oh my God, I've typed it in wrong. There you go. Get tracking items by ID. You see that, guys? I made a mistake. So don't do what I did and make a silly mistake like that. Actually type it incorrectly, please. Okay, hit save and let's just fix that right now. Okay, so we're gonna pop that in, hit save, and then we don't actually have get tracking item by ID. So I think what I've messed up here is my naming. So let me just double check. Get tracking item by ID. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so my naming is off. Right, there we go. That's better. So now what you can see is it's deployed it at our local host. And you also, if you want to use it online, you can use this, and then you can use your authorization key as your header to access it. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use this. I did that in the Reddit clone. So if you want to check that out, you can go over there and check it out. Okay, so I'm now going to go over to localhost. There we go. Done. Right. Here we are. Right, so click on Explorer. Hey, we get our orders, we got our tracking items. So this is where the bloody magic happens, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to get the name and the value of all my orders. And you see, guys, look, tracking items. So I'm going to call everything but the tracking items firstly to show you if this actually works. Hit save, and we get no. Okay, interesting. So we need to figure out what the hell is going on there. Right, I'm going to figure out why that happened. Get tracking items by ID. Let's go ahead and give that a try. Let me get an ID back. So what have I done wrong here? I've actually gone ahead and messed up something bad here. So I've got my id.json, okay. Tracking, UPS clone, there we go. Okay, let's debug. This is the tricky part. This is where we've actually got to kind of break it down and figure it out live on there. Okay, my item is good. Let's actually get an ID back over here and figure out what the hell's going on. So if I get an ID of an order, let's take this ID for example. Let's go over to our StepZen. No, not this one. I've lost track of this now. And hopping gorilla. Oh no, I was on the wrong. No, that's different. Sorry, I'm going to close that out. Here we are. Get tracking item by ID. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And you can even put it here as well, right? So you can actually pop it in. Give me this, come on. And I want the customer IDs, okay? Get tracking item ID. Okay, so it's not correctly connecting. So I need to debug this. Right, live problems. Here we go. Let's go ahead and check our endpoints firstly. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and create, see if this is actually pulling. So I need to do a that.json. Okay, we are getting that information, which is correct, right? Customer ID comes in. So I'm not sure why we're not actually pulling that through right now. That is correct. We've got the ID, which is correct. We've got the tracking items, which let's just go ahead and test it. And let's actually get all the items back as well. So I'm going to create another query here, get tracking items. This is going to return a type of tracking items list. So all of them. I'm going to create the type up above it. So we're just basically testing and debugging right now. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to change this to tracking items.json. Cool. And here for this one, guys, we actually need to do something slightly different. We have to have a transforms. So this is all in the documentation, but essentially what we're doing is we're taking it from its current pattern and we're turning it into an array, which is we're basically turning it from a JSON, from the response type into an array. Hit save. And now we are good to go. Okay. So let's go ahead and see our get tracking items. Okay, so heading over back to StepZen. Let's go here and let's hit refresh. And now you can see we've got get tracking items. I want to get the name of everything back. I want to get rid of this. Get tracking items. Okay, this is annoying. Let me see what's going on. Get tracking items, name, yeah. Okay, nice. Okay, we got something back. This is good. So we know not everything's broken. So let's firstly test this out. Okay, well, hey, this is good. We've got our tracking items. Now what I can do is let's take an item ID and let's go into our get tracking item by ID. Let's pass in a value here for the ID, which is going to be a value of, let's pass in item, and I should be able to pass in this ID. What's this happening? All right, let's do that. Oops, sorry guys. Item ID, bam, hit save. Okay, so it's working. It is working. I don't know why it was glitching out weirdly before. Let's do get orders. Let's get all the orders now. Okay, so it just needed a bit of a hard reset. Okay, so my orders is broken, but our get tracking items and get tracking is done. So we fixed that problem. Now we just need to fix the orders. So something went horribly wrong in orders. So let's go ahead and figure out what's going on there. So in this case, I'm going to have the get orders, which has got our orders list, and that's looking pretty good so far. So that is exactly what we wanted. And our order list is our return value. We go into there and we get our orders.json back. Oh, God. Okay. I know why this is. We forgot to add the transform, guys. So this is because, okay, so it was coming back and we weren't transforming it into an array. So that's why it wasn't working. Oops, my bad. Okay, so we need to add a transform in. Okay, so at this point, don't forget to do that. It's very important. Let's see if that works now. It's probably going to, there we go. Bam, we done it. Trust me, that took me a long time with documentation, but it's done. Awesome stuff. Okay, so at this point, that's looking pretty good. So we've got everything in, and now I want to show you the magic. So remember how we only got the item back, right? Well, no, we only got that information, limited to that. Remember, I did that special materializer function, this one. So it's going to use the tracking ID, run a query, connect it to the other one, combine it all in a session, all back in a response. So now you can see I get the other data type and I can pull in only the things I really want. So if I didn't want the item ID, I can do that. Hit enter, bam. Look at that now. Look at that. That is live. I debugged that live. I'm so happy. So what I like about this is that you can pretty much now go ahead and connect basically like a bunch of useless JSON strings like this into something useful now. So in some sense, this is now relational, right? So in this case, we're using the tracking ID to perform a separate query, pull in the additional items and have it as we need it. So you guys can see, I hope you can see there, the power of StepZen and what we just did, right? We took a boring JSON, you know, basically like a boring JSON backend, and we went ahead and made it a powerful interface with the GraphQL using StepZen. Okay, So that's very good. I'm very happy now, okay? Now I'm gonna show you how to add a get orders by ID one in case you're wondering. So if you did want to add a get orders by ID, you can do it just like that. You can have your, in this case, I've got the wrong URL, sorry guys. I've actually just copied that in. You can go ahead and do the following. You can do orders / get rid of that, and then you've got your ID, and that's going to be your dynamic value. Right, so that's how you would do an orders by ID. So I've shown you now how to go ahead and do all of these things. Now what I'm going to do next is create the same type definitions on the front end. So let's consider StepZen as the interface between our front end and our back end. Firstly, hit the like button as well. Nearly about to pass 600 likes. You guys are incredible today. Thank you for being awesome. Right, so now I'm going to go ahead and create the type definitions on the front end. So that way we protect ourselves and we code this in the correct fashion. Right, so what's really nice about React Native and Next.js lately is that if you go ahead and simply create a typings.d.ts file, this is a type definition file, you actually don't need to go ahead and keep importing it into different files. You can just go ahead and actually use these type definitions and it will pull it in when it compiles. So at this point, I'm going to create a customer type. This customer type is going to have an email of string and a name of string as well. Okay, and then we've got a type of customer list, right? Customer list, and this type of customer list has a name, ID, and the value is going to be a customer. Right, so you see how we can use different types as values, right? And as you can see, we're slowly building it out. Now I want to show you something, right? Heading back over to our, we haven't actually built out a customer yet. Sorry, that's ID, not IDB cursor, right? Going back over to StepZen, we actually need one more thing, right? So I wanted to go ahead and show you a final materializer, which I forgot to do, right? Let's finish it off strong, is basically where we have our tracking items, right? So notice how in tracking items, we have customer ID. So what do you think I'm going to do right now? Right? We have a customer ID right there. I've caught sight of it. I know it's there. So now what I'm going to do is go over to my customers.json file and just stare at this JSON with uselessly, right? No, well, that's not what we want to do. Instead, what we want to do is basically take that ID and materialize it and connect it. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is go back to my code, create a awesome materializer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and firstly, to do this, I need to actually go ahead and get a connection. So what I told you is that they've got a nice little trick, right? And I'm going to do that same little trick again. So I'm going to cut my, actually I don't need to cut it. I'm just going to create another one. All right, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to do StepZen. Oh, don't do it there. Do it CD StepZen. Make sure you're in the correct folder. And then I'm going to go ahead and do an import. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my import here, right? I'm importing from customers. Okay, so I'm importing from customers.json. The query type here is not going to be tracking list items. The query type is actually going to be, give me 1 second. The query that I'm just checking is going to be, let's do get customers. Okay, so it's going to be get customers. Query name, oh no, I've messed this up. Query type is going to be customer. That's it. What am I doing? Customer. There you go. All right. Query name is going to be get customers. Get customers. And then -- name is going to be customer, lowercase. Okay. There we go. All right. Hit enter and let the magic happen on its side. And let's go ahead and go back into our code. And you can see we've got a customer. There we go. And it had the same problem. It struggles sometimes to figure out what the return type is. That's fine. We can depict it ourselves. So at this point, we've got the type query over here. I'm going to create a type customer and I'm going to do the following, right? So I've got the type customer is email string. And remember, this is not a TypeScript definition. It's actually a GraphQL definition. It's slightly different, hence the capital S. And then we've got string and I've got the customer list, which is actually the return type. So customer list is the return type. And that name is actually the key, believe it or not. So that's why I'm putting ID there. And then we've got value, which is the returned customer that comes back. So that's just the type that I've done the hard work here. Search that for you. It's easy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, get customers. I'll say get customer. This is going to be customer list, and it's going to be an array that returns, and it's going to have all the basically IDs of the users that come back, and then the customer themselves, right? And this is going to basically be customers.json. Remember, this is returning an array, okay? So I'm going to transform that array. So what I need to do there is go ahead and transform it. That allows me to go ahead and show it along, right? So pretty good there. The next thing I'm going to do is basically rewrite this, but have it as get customer by ID. right? So same thing. And again, I'm showing you all of this because that way you can go ahead and extend it as you need to, right? By ID. And if you really want to take this a bit further, Roy Dirks did an amazing video on this over at the StepZen YouTube channel. So definitely check it out. Return type for a customer by ID is a singular customer. So here what I would do is I would change this to be customers / the wildcard ID. We are not returning an array, so I can simply do that. Hit save. It's going to rebuild our backend. Hit refresh on StepZen, and now you can go ahead and see that we have get customers, and you see I can pull in the name, the IDs, and just like that, bam, we have a GraphQL interface. Oh, the music is sick, and we are going well at this rate, right? So backend interface is done. We pretty much made our whole GraphQL interface. Now we're going to connect it up to our React Native app, go crazy speed, and we're going to go ahead and build this app to make it look beautiful. Let me know right now if you are finding this fun, if you are learning something new, and if you are focused, because I can see so many people retaining onto this right now. So I know you guys are literally coding along with me and focused right now. Okay, now I want to show you something else. We had the materializer that I didn't end up writing, so I got hyped. So let's go back to our tracking items. So that's the whole point of what I was going to do. So where we had tracking items as being a return type, what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to return the items themselves, and then I'm going to return a customer, right? And what I'm going to do here is the type of is going to be customer, and that's going to be capital, and I'm going to indent. I'm going to say at materializer. Right, so remember, it doesn't actually come with the customer attached. So we're actually going to use the materializer to go ahead and find and use the value, the previous query for us to go ahead and connect it together. Okay, so I'm going to type in get customer by ID. So the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm basically connecting this get customer by ID. Okay, and that actually should be a lowercase I, get customer, right, by ID. So I'm going to do get customer ID by ID. Then I'm going to say arguments. It takes an array with an object inside. So there we go. It's going to be name. The field that we're replacing is ID. So double things, quotes. The field that we're connecting to is customer ID. Okay, let's hit save. And now we should have materialized our customer into our return. So if we hit refresh now, when I get my tracking items, I should see a new field inside of the customer. So you can see value items. Is it customer? No, tracking items. Get orders, sorry. It was in get, was it orders? Where the heck am I looking? This is inside of tracking items inside of get tracking items. Okay. So refresh. Get tracking items, name, customer ID, items. It hasn't, oh, sorry guys, silly me. I did not actually. Okay, so it hasn't rebuilt weirdly. So let's go over here. Field cannot be query, does not exist. Customer tracking items. There we go. So get customer ID reference in your query. Material does not exist. Okay, so we are actually typed in the wrong value. So get customer by ID. It's, oh, I didn't save the file. God damn it. All right, deploying. So check out your logs and it should show you. Then it says done, 3.3 seconds. Yeah, so now we refresh and we should see customer. Yes, there we go. So now I can pull in the customer as a return value. This is GraphQL, by the way, yeah. And now you can see I get the item, the item is in the tracking information, the customer ID with the information of the orders, the items, and it connects the customer. Bam, bam, bam. That's damn powerful, man. That is actually wicked. Like, that can turn any database source or several database sources into a response like that. I don't think you understand just how powerful that is, guys. Like, you can make any query from any different data source. So you can have like curl requests from one area, Superbase requests from some other, combine it. So all you're saying is, I want the tracking items and give me the customer as well, and use the customer's ID to figure it out. And you see what I mean? You can pull in all this different information from different sources, which is so powerful, right? And all your front-end devs would have to do is come onto your graphical UI and basically play around with it. Oh, okay, I can see the customer, I can access the customer, and there you go, right? Really, really cool. Okay, debugging 101 today. Jay, we are doing damn well. This is awesome, man. Almost at 600 likes. Smash the like button. Right, let's keep moving, guys. So at this point, we need to pull in that information from the front end. So this is where we're going to need to use some kind of client In this case, this is where we love to use Apollo, right? So Apollo client is what we're going to be using today. So I'm going to head over to my browser. I'm going to basically stop spamming my browser. I'm going to have another tab here saying Apollo client. Okay. So what we're going to use is an Apollo client for React. Okay. So we're going to click on get started. You've got V3, V2. We're going to use V3 and we're going to go ahead and install it. So first thing we need to do is install the following dependencies. So go ahead, Command J, and remember, I'm inside of StepZen now. So CD upper level, yeah? And then you want to do npm install at that level, right? So let's do this. Nightbot is savage, right? It just slaps people out if they speak bad, honestly. It's wants that smoke, dude. So at this point, we're doing pretty good. 1 second, guys. Oh God, what has happened? Okay. Here we go. So we've got this looking pretty nice so far. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and you need to basically wrap your entire app and initialize it. So what I'm going to do now is actually do a local connection to my app. So in this case, if I was to connect here, I'll show you how we do it. So at the top here is go ahead and do the following. I see you, Jay. All right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and import from the Apollo client. And instead of the URI from the dummy demo that they gave, I'm going to go ahead and do the following, right? Instead, I'm going to go ahead and take the StepZen URI that they gave us. So in this case, my local host StepZen is running at Dusty Gopher. Right, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go here. Now, remember, I told you when we actually set this up, or when I started running it, where was it? So at the top over here, whenever you basically run it, it will give you two URIs. It will give you the deployment one and it will give you the local one. So when you're developing, feel free to use the local one and then you can switch it. Again, I did that in the Reddit clone. Feel free to check it out if you're interested in how to do that. So we've got the client here. Next thing we need to do is you can do it really above or below the Tailwind provider. I'm just going to do it below. I'm going to pop in the client like so, go around the navigation container and then exit like that. So you see how we're powering the app up in a higher order component fashion. Okay. At this point, you probably want to check that your app hasn't crashed. Okay, so we're doing pretty good so far. Okay, and there we go. Kulia needs to get out of here. All right, so at this point, let's go ahead and see this. We've got our application here. So we've got customers, orders, and 1 second, guys. Let's check this out. Let's do it. So we've got navigation container over here. So now what I'm going to do is basically we can actually use the inner components. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the following now. So right now, yeah, now we can start making our queries and so forth. So I'm going to show you a nice way of doing this. Now, I haven't made use of every single query that we created. Okay. Instead, now what we can do is we're going to go ahead and create a nice folder structure, because I always get that question, Sunny, please make a folder structure as you would when you're building an app out. So I'm going to show you right now how I do it. I'm going to have GraphQL folder. Okay. And inside there, I'm going to have a queries folder. Okay, so inside here, this is going to have all my queries logic. So this one's going to be a TypeScript file. So it's going to be queries.ts. Okay, now inside of here, I'm going to create some queries. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know what the queries are? Well, remember we were in StepZen a second ago, right? Well, in fact, what you need to do here is you just need to go ahead and if we click on export, you can actually see here. What I love about this is you can go ahead and do this. You can go ahead and do Apollo, use query hook. You actually get the code right here. Okay, so what you can do is once you've created your query from all the information that you needed, you can go ahead and use this to get the snippets that we're going to go ahead and create. Okay, and 1 second, guys. So in this case, you can see we've got the following. So I'm going to go ahead and basically use that same way of doing things, but basically streamline it. So we're going to get the customers and we're going to get the orders, right? And we use those inner selectors to materialize things, so it's not going to waste. Okay, so check this out. We're going to go ahead and firstly create a query for the getting the customers. So in this case, bam, we've got our customers, and here you can see GQL. So that's actually from Apollo client. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that in, right? And bam, just like that, we're about to hit 600 likes. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. It's about to go. Someone hit the like. There we go. Bam, 602 likes. Bam, there we go. Keep smashing that thumbs up. Let's hit 1,000. Let's do it. Let's break 1,000, guys. Absolutely incredible stuff. So there you go. We got the customers. That's our first query. And then we're going to go ahead and create an orders one. So the orders one, I'm actually going to go ahead and pull in all the information. So I'm pulling in all of this information right here. Now, again, what is nice about GraphQL is you can actually go ahead and say, I don't need to create that, right? You can get rid of it. And then it kind of reduces the network call bandwidth because you're not getting that information in every single time. So you can actually be quite efficient with this. And if you think about it, all the heavyweight fetching and connecting from different APIs is happening on the back end, then you just get a single request response, which is nicer than doing several requests on the front end, right? Cool stuff. Okay, at this point, we've got the orders looking pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and guys, the likes are flying right now. That's absolutely incredible. Okay, so at this point, we are going to start pulling in this information. Okay, so I'm actually going to create a few helpful hooks for us. Okay, so we're actually going to use 2 custom hooks, and I'm going to create them now, and then we're going to use them inside of our build. So if you think about this, here we have all of our customers. So I'm going to call this one the use customers hook, and this is going to use that GraphQL query to pull in all the information in a certain way that we can basically go ahead and constantly use it in an easy, approachable way. Then we're going to have another one here, which is going to be called the useOrders hook. And this is going to fetch the information so that way we can render it on the front end like so. So we're going to create 2 custom hooks now. The first custom hook, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create a hooks folder. The first hook is going to be called useCustomerOrders.tsx. Okay, bam, just like that. And now inside of useCustomerOrders.tsx, what I like to do, guys, is a little trick. I like to do RFCE, right? And then I basically turn this into a functional component. So bam, make it an arrow function. Yes, there is a snippet for it. I know. So in this case, this is basically what we're doing. And then what we're going to basically say is we're going to use the use query hook from Apollo. And inside of here, I'm going to say that we're going to have const, and we're basically going to pull a bunch of stuff in from the from our GraphQL call. Now, when I make a call to GraphQL to get the information that we saw earlier, it's going to give me 3 things back. It's going to give me loading, it's going to give me an error status, and it's going to give me the data that returns back. So I'm destructuring the object here, and I'm going to go ahead and say equals use query, and I'm going to go ahead and pull in that get orders function that we query that we created earlier. Okay, so really good stuff. Let's go ahead and hit save. And guys, I just want to mention as well, right, Universe Code, thank you, dude. He actually just dropped in such a lovely thing here. He goes, after 2 hours 200 people are still watching. Only the Papa fam does that. Thank you, dude. Absolutely incredible stuff, right? Really nice, right? Incredible energy, right? Abo says, hello there. What's up, Papa Fam member? Yo, what's up? Good. That was good, dude. All right, so at this point, we're not returning JSX as well. I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Okay. Turkey in the house. What's up? All right. So we're also going to have a piece of local state. All right. So here, I'm going to go ahead and say const orders set orders equals. Well, we've got loads of people just flooding in. That's awesome, man. Yo, use state. And then I'm going to go ahead and import that from React. And as you can see here, this is going to start off as an array. Now, what I'm actually going to do here is we created an order type. Well, we haven't created it yet. I'm going to create it in a second. So we're going to create, this is going to be of type order array. So going back to our typings, I'm going to actually complete these. I completely forgot to type this out, right? So remember, we had the customer list. We also got tracking item, which is basically, this is all shaped to the GraphQL calls that we did previously. That means we've got our individual items. We also got the order, the customer response, and the order response typings. Okay, so these 3 are basically mapped out exactly as I wrote it inside of the GraphQL StepZen area. Basically, I completely lost my words there. These type definitions match, okay? Yes, that's what I wanted to say. All right, so now we've got our protection over here. Awesome stuff. Okay. Somebody says, how long did it take you to learn coding? I'm still learning, right? That's how I see it. You should never say I've learned it, right? You're always learning. I'm learning every day, right? So honestly, you want to keep on going, right? So at this point, now what we're going to do is we're going to have a water break because I'm parched. That's the most British thing I've said on a YouTube stream ever, parched. I'd never say that. I'm thirsty. Right, thank you guys for that. I'll never stop thanking you for that 100,000. Right. We're doing well. So I think we can take this place. We're doing very well. All right, let's go. Let's smash this. Okay. So right now, we're going to go ahead and create a use effect. Now, what's really cool about custom hook is that you can go ahead and have your own kind of specific logic, and it's basically going to have all the use effects, like kind of stuff happening in the background, right? So it's really quite a nice kind of finished product. You'll see what I'm saying, right? The point is that, right, what we're going to say is if there is no data, so basically if we're still fetching, you can say if loading return, but I'm going to say if there is no data return. So I'm going to do a little bit of defensive programming here. Okay, so if there's no data, right, so if we're still fetching the get orders, right, remember it's going to first say loading and blah, 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 right? But if there's no data, then we're going to stop there, right? And this means that data is a dependency. Okay. But if there is data, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new orders object, and this is going to be of type order. So I'm going to create an orders array, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to access the orders and I'm going to return it. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm transforming the data in a way that allows us to manipulate and play with it on the front end in a bit nicer response way. Okay. So I'm going to say data, ciao from Italy. What's up, dude? All right. So I'm going to say data dot get orders. So basically what happens is whenever we do any of these requests, right, for example, get orders, what actually happens is that query, guys, is going to return in the form of an object, right? So this information will come back to us, and you can see it's data dot get orders dot, and then you've got access to these things, right? So what I'm now doing is data dot get orders dot map. So I'm basically kind of unwrapping it in a nice way, right? So I've got an arrow function here. Right, and I'm actually returning parentheses. I'm returning an object, right? Inside of the arrow, what we have is the item. And what I'm doing is I'm destructuring the item to get the value out. But before I do that, I'm going to cast the item, right? So how do I do this right now? Well, what I do is I basically go ahead and I create an object, and I go ahead here and I say it's the order response. And that's actually something I created earlier. So if we go and click into that, that's what we did in our type definitions. And here I can actually go ahead and get the value out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the carrier, basically I'm rebuilding up the object, right? So we've got a nice kind of presented front end. So I'm going to say value dot, and you can see here, all my IntelliSense knows about what's happening, right? Now, yes, I can do the spread operator if I really wanted to, but I'm just kind of make it explicitly clear as to what's going on, right? So at this point, I'm going to basically fast track, and we're going to pull in a bunch of stuff. So we've got a few different things that we're pulling in. Okay, and once it's done, I'm going to set the orders to our orders. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm basically passing in the orders as it comes in from the backend. Okay, now what am I doing next? Rather than returning some JSX, it's a custom hook. So I'm going to return the loading state, the error state, and the orders, not data. So as you can see now, this will either return some orders or it may be loading. But either way, I can use all of this information as and when I need it. Okay, cool stuff. We're now going to do the exact same. Oh, wow. I've messed that up right bad, isn't it? I've done the customer orders. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll tell you what, guys. This whole thing was for use orders, right? I'm sorry, guys. This whole thing was for use orders. Okay, so never mind. So when Jay, when you timestamp this, please put use orders here. Right, that was actually use orders. I completely messed that up. My bad. Use orders is what I was actually doing there. So which means that you have to change this to use orders. It's fine. It happens. I completely lost track. Right. And the next one is going to be use customer orders. There we go. Use customer orders. I was reading the chat and I kind of got a bit mixed up. All right. RFCE. Bam. Okay. Now for the customer orders, similar thing, but customer orders is a hook which takes we're gonna pass in the user ID, and then it's gonna basically from the overall orders that we pull in, it's gonna filter it down based on the customer ID that we pass in. Yeah. Yes, there are ways you could do this. You could probably offload this to the back end. You can. I'm just going to show you how you can do it on the front end. Okay. So first step is we're going to go ahead and pull in a bunch of dependencies that I'm probably going to need, like so. Okay, and the get orders I can pull in as I need it. Okay, so first step is to pull from the get orders. So I'm going to go ahead and get my get orders like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my orders, set my orders, and I'm I'm going to get, it's going to be an array of orders. Nice. Okay. Next up is we're going to have a user fact. So very similar to what we just did, guys. Okay. Very, very similar to what we just did. It's going to have a dependency. The dependency in this case is going to be data. We are going to have a defensive programming block. So in this case, I'm going to say if there is no data, then we're going to return. So if there's no data, return, bam, cool. And then we're going to do the whole fetching. So I'm going to say with the order. So we're going to return a bunch of orders. I'm going to say data.getOrder. So very exactly pretty much similar to what we just did. GetOrders.map. And then we're going to have the same thing. So parentheses, arrow function. I'm going to be returning, implicitly returning an array. So an object, yeah. Inside of here, we have an object, which is the order response. This is a nice song, actually. This has the value inside of it, bam. And then the object that I'm rebuilding from this is going to be basically the same thing. So it's basically exactly what I just did, right? Only difference here is that we pass in a user ID as a value, okay? This is going to be a string that gets passed in. Now, when we have our orders here, what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be filtering based on the customer's order. So I'm going to create something here, and this one's going to say orders.filter. And what I'm now doing is I'm taking the orders that we just had, and I'm going to say for every single order, the predicate function. So what I'm checking against is going to be order dot. And as you can see here, I've got all of our things. So I'm going to say order dot tracking ID. Oh no, sorry, it's tracking items. Tracking items dot customer ID is equivalent to user ID. So I'm checking if that is the case, right? So I'm filtering it out based on that. Now, what I then do is I set the orders to the customer's orders. Cool, that's it, right? And because we're using the user ID here, it also has to become a dependency. Any variable externally that you use inside of your user fact block has to be included in your dependency array, as it is a dependency of your user fact. Right, so if it changes, your user fact has to effectively run again. Now, rather than some JSX returning, we don't care. We're going to take the loading, the error, and the orders out. Done. We have our useful hooks. Okay, so useful hooks done. Now it's time to get back to our front end. Let's build out this app, man. Let's go ahead and build this out and use modals and cool stuff like that. Right. So heading back over to our screen. So screen, customer screen. Let's go ahead and do the following. So this screen right here. See how we're going to move now. Now it's going to get real fun. I'm telling you, it's going to get quite... I'm going to restart this jazz song because I kind of like this. Let's kind of turn the volume up. Quick little water break, and we're gonna smash that like button and just kill this now. I think we're doing very well on the speed. Thank you, Sonny. I really appreciate your words. I understand the name of the channel cannot make you understand, but trust me, you know me. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you so much, Universe Code. You're awesome subscriber. Okay. Let's do it. So we're firstly going to start off with the customer screen. So we are going to actually pull in that helpful hook. In fact, what I did here was I still used our customers query. Okay, so get customers, I ended up using it. So, okay, we're not actually using it in this screen, we're using a different one. And I'll show you why we do that in a sec. Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do, that's fine. We're going to pull in the hook over here. So we're going to say loading. Error data. So I'm going to use that GraphQL hook, use query, get customers. I'm going to pull everything in like so, and then we're actually going to render this out. So I'm basically going to render out the customers down here. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go underneath our input, and here I'm going to say data, and it's going to be optional chain because there may be a case where it's still loading. Okay, get customers, and you can, yes, you can block based on the loading state if you really wanted to. So next we're going to map through. Now, each customer is going to get returned. So we're going to return a customer and return something along with it. Now, as you can see here, we've actually got we've got the get customers. And what I want to do instead here is I'm actually going to go ahead and say that this is an object of type customer response. So I'm casting it a value. Okay. And then now I can go ahead and actually pull out values from it. So I can say, I'm going to get the name, and inside the name, I'm going to rename the name to ID because it actually comes back as name, but it really should be ID. Kind of confusing, but that's Firebase for you. All right. So, and then we're going to pull the value, and that has inside of it the email and the name. Okay. Oh my God, Abo Adamo, thank you so much. US $10 donation. I appreciate you guys. That means we're over $50 in donations. Incredible stuff. Over £50, sorry, in donations. That's huge. Thank you so much. And we are literally near 700 likes. Absolutely nuts. Okay. Thank you, dear. I really, really appreciate you. And then we're going to have customer cards. So now what we're going to do is we're going to build this customer card component. Okay, so let's actually do that right now. So we're going to say customer card, and we're going to build that component. The key for each customer card is going to be the ID. The email is going to be the email. So these are going to be props that we're going to pass through. The name is going to be name, and the user ID prop is going to be the user ID. All right, so the ID that we have here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our first component. So, well, separate component. So I'm going to create a components folder. Oops, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Go to package.json, then press folder. There you go, components. Cool. We're going to go ahead and create the components folder. Now we're going to create the customer card. So we're going to do that right now. So create customer card.tsx. Bam. Here, RFCE. Oh no, React Native functional component. Why is my tabs doing that? What the hell? All right, so there we go. Import it. And now it's saying email. Now this is what's really nice about, thank you, Abel. That's really kind of you. What's really nice about this is it says you haven't included that as a TypeScript prop. So we're actually telling you that the code is wrong. So this is good. This is very good. It means that it's calling us out on something, right? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take a bunch of props. So you can see the props that we accepted in the previous screen were email, name, user ID. I've written out that type definition here. The props come through here. So props come through, we assign it as props, but I can just save ourselves a bit of time and destructure the props and get the email, the name, and the user ID out like so. Okay. Next up, I'm going to use our special customer orders hook to create the appropriate information, or to pull in the appropriate information based on the customer's ID. So in this case, loading error data equals, and we're going to say use customer orders, and I'm going to pass in the user ID. So what we're essentially doing here is we're calling in all the information. This is going to be order, sorry, not that. Alex says, let's go, Papa Fam, Diamond, go, Platinum Office. Hell yes, dude. So check this out. So in this case, we've got, it probably won't load at the moment anyway, because I haven't rendered it out correctly. So we've done that. And then we're going to go ahead and have stuff rendered out here. So firstly, we're going to use Tailwind in this bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to say const Tailwind equals use Tailwind. And then the final thing I'm going to do just to prep myself is use the navigation. We're going to use that inside of here. And we need to import our customer screen navigation prop, which we already created. Right, because the customer card is sitting inside customer screen, we're going to use that prop. Okay, so hit save. You can see we've got customer card here. So it's starting to render out now. Cool stuff, right? Now at this point, we're going to basically build out that card so it looks damn awesome. And I'm going to move damn fast. Okay, so touchable opacity is a button component, similar kind of button component. It basically just makes something clickable, right? So it's like a touchable effect. So now if I click it, you see that I've got a clickable effect. So touchable opacity is going to wrap our element. Then we're going to use something called a card. Right now, the card I'm going to pull in from React Native Elements themed library, and inside of here I'm going to have a view. Okay, now as you can see, we started getting cards. Okay, now the first thing I want to do, guys, is inside of that card I'm going to change this style. So the container for this is going to be a Tailwind styling element, and we're going to say it's going to be padding of 5, it's going to be rounded large. And for the flex items inside of it, I'm going to justify the space between. I mean, to be fair, I don't think we need that just yet, actually. So give that a second. Cool. Okay. Nice. Padding of 5. And then the view. Cool. James Tutul says, sweet. Go, Papa React. Let's go, dude. I love your energy. Thank you for tuning in. All right. So first thing we've got here is we're basically building this out, right? So we need to build out, think of everything in boxes. Box. Right, and then there's a box underneath and there's a divider between them, right? We're literally gonna just do that right now, right? So first things first, we've got a view with 2 text fields inside of it. So view with 2 text fields inside of it, text times 2, bam, just like that, right? Then we're gonna pull the name in, and over here, I'm gonna pull the email in. No, sorry, the ID. So I'm gonna say ID, user ID. Oh my God, ID. What am I doing? Right, ID is user ID. Okay, Lucas, Matt, Jones, we've got loads of stuff happening now. Underneath that, I'm gonna have a view with some text. Columbia in the house. What is up, Juan? right? Now at this point, I'm going to say if it's loading, right? So we can actually use that loading state for good use. If it's loading, I'm going to say loading, ... Otherwise, I want to say, I'm going to do backticks. So I'm going to do some string interpolation here. I'll say orders.length X. So it means like this many orders. So like basically when it's loading, it'll say loading, and then it'll say 2 objects, right, inside your order basically. So looking good, pretty decent, right? And then we got an icon. Now this icon is going to have a bit of styling attached to it. So I'm just going to save us some time here. I'm going to pull in the icon. I'm actually going to pull it in from a React Native UI elements themed. Now this has got margin bottom of 5, margin left of auto, name is box, and typo is the type. If you want to know the types, you can command click here. Icon type is where you'll find all of the different types. Hit save. Already starting to look a bit funky. It's kind of getting there, but it's not there yet. Okay, now outside of the icon, right, outside of this view, we have a card divider, card.divider. Okay, and then underneath it, we have a text with the email inside of it. Cool. Now I'm going to style this up to look like what we see behind us right there. Let's move. The first thing we're going to do is style up the, see how I'm always switching between React and Next.js. So, no, React Native and Next.js. I'm getting so confused. Tigray in the house. Erasmus. Sonny, I'm absolutely excited to catch you live. What is up, dude? Good to see you here. Thank you for tuning in. Tailwind. Let's go ahead and do it, right? So 700 likes, guys. Smash that like. Get this up. If you're watching the replay, like, guys, we're at thousands of likes. What the hell are you saying? All right, at this point, we're going to say text 2XL. And then I'm going to say font should be bold. And for the user ID, style is going to be... and I'll show you what we can do here, right? So if you want to combine inline styles with Tailwind styles, you put an array and then you just add in your elements. So in this case, I'm going to put some Tailwind styles, so text should be small. And then I'm going to put a comma, and then you can have inline styles. So color should be black. Oh no, I'm going to do the actual, the little theme color that we have going on, right? So I'm going to actually add that in. Kenya in the house. What is going on, guys? Pop that in. There you see, bam, just like that. Looks good. Text to Excel. This is looking nice. Okay. Now outside of this, the view, I'm going to have a style. Actually, I've messed up a little bit. I think I want to have it so... This view should be encapsulating these. This view should be styled. And I want to do Tailwind, and inside of here I want to do flex row. So pump it in a line. Let's see, flex row. And that's not what I wanted. That's not what justify space between, justify between. That's because this view right here should go underneath that view. There we go. That's what I wanted. There we go. Right. Now the only thing that's messed up is this view. This is the one that I need to make flex. So style, Tailwind, flex row, items in the center, hit save, and I'm going to justify it at the end. So you see here is justify at the end. This will basically put them on the baseline together. Cool. The text over here, I want to make it like a nice blue color. So style is going to be that nice blue. So I'm going to say color should be the blue that we previously had. Bam, like so. Okay, just like that. Pow, look at that, nice. Okay, very good. Tell me this, I've been learning to code for 4 years. I'm still currently confused because I'm stuck with basics, not able to create projects. Guide me, use my basics, guys. I'm literally giving you free stuff like basics 101 on React. Make sure you use it. Surav, yes, you can use style components in React Native. Okay, so at this point we have that, and it's a style. There you go, nice, pretty cool. Okay, now I want to do something before I implement the screen, the pop-up, the modal, that stuff. I want to go back to my customer screen. Remember, I have a typing function here. I want this to basically work, right? I don't want it to not work. So I'm going to put a little, it's kind of like, obviously you can always go ahead and change this up if you want to, but I'm going to have it so that way when you type in, it will filter based on what you've typed in. So I'm just going to show you how you can do it inline. You can feel free to neaten it up. You can always neaten it up if you want to, okay? So I'm actually going to do a little kind of piping trick here. So I'm going to say data.getCustomers, which we already did. And then I'm going to say, that could also be kind of, optional change. We can say filter it, okay? So I'm going to filter here, and obviously it's going to kind of look a bit weird for now. I'm going to say filter, and for every single customer, okay? So the customer type here is actually going to be customer list. Customer list is a type. We're going to return a check. So basically, I'm going to say filter if this predicate is true. So I'm going to say customer dot value dot email. No, sorry, name. And we're going to do dot includes the input. Input is what we mapped previously to our entry box. And then the outcome of that is what we map out. There you go. Okay, so as I type in now, you guys can see this. Oh, I love that. Prisma's, okay, I'm so sorry if I pronounce this wrong. Prismaslaw Lunik says, I'm an experienced developer, almost of 10 years in software development. Guys, use Sunny stuff. It's better than a lot of paid stuff, and it is so good, that so goodly described that I love to watch it. Jay, please screenshot that. Dude, I massively appreciate that feedback, especially from a veteran who's got 10 years on him. Thank you so much. Him or her, I'm not sure, but thank you so much. I appreciate you. Right. So now as we type in, it should filter. So if I type in Bill, hey, look at that. Salim. Oh, look at that. Mandy. Hey. And let's go down here and type in John. Oh, oops. Okay, that's nice. And let's type in John. Oh, guys, look at that. That's sick, right? Works. Cool. And yes, there are more optimal, efficient ways. I ain't getting into it right now. It looks pretty good though. Okay. Awesome stuff. This is going very well, right? Very, very well. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and create the clicking in sort of modal that you see. So how do we do that? Well, first thing is I need to prepare for that modal. So we're actually going to go to our root navigator and prepare a stack for the modal. So first things first, we are going to create a new root stack group. Okay, so I'm going to copy in the root stack group. So just how we had one for the screen, I'm going to have another one for this. Okay, and the difference with this one is inside of here, I am going to have a screen. So I'm going to copy that in. But here, it's not going to be this. It's going to be my modal, because that's what we basically called it. And also, guys, I forgot to actually pass in the root param list here. There you go. That's why it didn't pop up there. I was wondering. So here, my modal. And then the component for this would be the modal screen, which we haven't created yet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Chris says, I bought a subscription to Skillshare from a previous PuppFan video. Nice. That is awesome. Thank you. And if you are interested in learning more from the OGs at the PuppFam, including myself and the success coaches, then feel free to come over to puppreact.com. Zero to Full Stack Hero is our community and course, right? Literally, if you want to, feel free to come and join us, right? So we've got the modal screen here. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how we basically tell it it's a modal. So we basically change the screen options here. And here what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and changing something called the presentation. And what you can do here is you can put modal as a type. Now, if I go ahead and do command control space, but you can see transparent modal, modal, full screen modal, contain modal, craziness. Honestly, I know so much to learn, but we're only doing the modal. Okay, it's fine. And then what I'm going to do is for this screen, you can remember I showed you how to do header shown false in the actual component, but what if you want to do it at this level? Right, just as a heads up to show you both ways, well, you can go ahead and say options and you can make header shown. So header shown, you can actually go ahead and change it here as well. So there's two ways you can do it. Okay, so header shown is another way you can do it here. Now for modal screen, it's going to obviously freak out because it doesn't exist. So let's create that screen, modal screen. .tsx, React Native functional export a component. Bam, hit save, and let's go back to our root navigator, pull it in just like that, hit save, and voila, done. Okay, we have a modal screen. So you can't see it right now. You're probably wondering what's the point of that. Well, I'll show you now. Now I can navigate to it and it will work, right? So if I go into my customer screen, I'll show you how it works. Where we have our customer card, I'm going to have it so that way when you click into a customer card, it's going to go ahead and actually take you to my modal screen and pass along the appropriate properties. So what's cool about React Native navigation is as you navigate from one screen to another, you can pass props with that navigation request. So imagine if I go from the home screen to the modal screen and I say, hey, when you do that navigation, take the user ID and name with you. Right, so you see you go from one screen to the next, but you can take data with you. So we can basically pass props through. Now, the way I showed you that earlier is inside of the root navigator, you can see we actually defined it inside type definitions. We had user ID and name, both being a string. So now inside of the customer card, let's go back there. In touchable opacity, I actually had the navigation with the correct prop type. And all I'm going to do here is say on press. And we're going to go ahead and have some arrow function. Oops. Arrow function. And here, guys, what I'm going to say is it's going to be a one-liner, so we don't need that. We can just actually say, we're going to say navigation.navigate. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put colon. As you can see, it knows what screens based on that prop type. So you can see, really, I know it was a bit to set up, but it was really worth it. Right, Sam Khan says, love you, bro. I love you too. Thank you for tuning in. My modal, let's go pop that in. And then I can pass in the data. So you can see the params, it even knows the params because of the prop types, which is so damn cool, right? So at this point, I can take the name and I'm passing through the name here. So we already have the name. So I'm going to pass in my name. I'm passing user ID and I'm literally going to pass through the values. Now, let's check out if this works. Lucas Bill, click it, bam. Header shown is false because I've disabled it. But if I didn't disable it and I go back to the root navigator and I get rid of this, you will now see if I click this, my modal. Look at that, guys. Amazing. Right, it pops up. So I'm going to disable the header as well. Boom. Right, but if I showed you in real time, you can see it actually pops up like so. I'm going to disable it. Okay, cool. Now let's make this screen. This one right here. So we're going to have Lucas Bill, deliveries, and we've got the delivery cards, which are basically going to go ahead and show everything. Zor20 with the £8.99 donation. Papa React changing lives. Thank you, sir. Let's go. Thank you, dude, for being incredible. Absolutely amazing stuff. We are moving, and we are literally nearly at 700 likes. I love this right now. I love it. This is Element. This is flow to the max. Right, modal screen. Let's go. So first thing I want to do right now is I want to go ahead and start styling out. So we've got the view. Everything inside of the view is going to be a touchable opacity. Well, no, it's not. What am I saying? No, it's not. I'm going to have a back button, which is going to be the touchable opacity. So this button right here is going to be a absolutely positioned button on the top right of this element. So let's do that now. So I'm going to have a touchable opacity. Oops. Someone said, I like that pop-up. I like it too, man. Touchable opacity. Let's go pop that in. Okay. And that touchable opacity is going to have an icon inside of it. So that icon is going to come from the theme library. And then we're going to have the name is going to be closed circle. And the type. So the basically where it's from is going to be anti-design. Yeah, that's the one. There you go. There you go. There it is. And this is going to be styled up appropriately with Tailwind. So I'm going to need the Tailwind addition. So let's go pop that in over here. Let's import it. So control spacebar at the end. Bam, hit it in. And then we can say Tailwind. And let's make this absolutely positioned on the top right. So right of 5 and top of 5. And we're going to give it a Z of 10. So that way it doesn't get buried behind anything. So Z index means it's layered up to the top. And if we hit save now, top right. And as you can see, it's actually relative already to the parent, right? So typically when you do web dev, you have to make the parent relative, but we don't have to do that this time, okay? Now, what's really cool here is I'm gonna go ahead and make it so that if I click that X button, it actually closes the screen. Now, how the hell do I do that? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull in a navigation, constant navigation equals use navigation. And I'm going to go pop this in. Now, remember I said when we get to these second level screens, we start having that more complicated composite navigation prop type. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that same pattern. I'm going to say type, and this is going to say modal screen navigation prop equals composite navigation prop. And then it's basically the exact same as what I put last time, except the only difference is that when you come to putting in your screen, you're actually putting in the modal instead. So I'm going to import all of these things. Nice little trick. There you go. Bam. And then here, I'm actually going to go ahead and say my modal. So this is where you would pick which screen you're currently in, my modal. And then we basically pass that in as a generic template. Hit save. And now on this one, what I can do is I can say on press, I can say navigation dot go back. And just like that, guys, bam. Do you just love it when code works for the first time? So cool, man. So cool. We're literally at 700 likes. Smash that like button. All right. Really, really cool. So look at that. As soon as you do that, boom, hit it. It's cool. It works really nice. Okay. So that's looking really good. Let's continue on at that same momentum and get it looking the way we want it. All right. So what I'm actually going to do here, oops, is I'm going to move this slightly to the right. So that way I can kind of pull it as a reference when I need it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is probably do the header. So there's a view. Inside there, I'm going to have a view with two text fields. Okay, first one is going to have the name, and then it's going to have deliveries. It's freaking out right now because it doesn't have that right now. So is this name is deprecated? Okay, that's because it's not pulling out the name from anywhere, right? We need to say, where did you get it from? So remember, I passed it through the customer card, right? When we navigated here, the way you basically get it out of that prop, you have to go ahead and do the following. So you have to say const, it's basically root equals use root. Okay, and then what you have to do is you have to pass in your modal screen root prop. So we haven't actually made that, so I'm going to make that and show you how that works. So the way this one works is you say type modal screen, type modal screen root prop. Okay, and then we say root prop, which is a special type of prop. We import it from React Native Navigation, awesome stuff. And then this takes a generic template, and I mean this takes in the root stack parameters and what page we're on. So in this case, my modal. I then pass that in here, and it now knows you have access to those variables, right? So if I destructure the root, inside of there, you will now see I have params, and inside of the params, you will now see the name and the ID. So what I love about TypeScript is that if you do it correctly, it will tell you that you're actually doing the right thing. So you see how you're saving yourself from bugs, all that kind of stuff. You're not messing up like that, right? So in this case, look at that. We get Lucas Bill deliveries. If I go down here and I go to Mandy Jones comes through as so, right? So now I've got the user ID as well. Awesome stuff, right? Next thing I want to do is I'm going to pull in the information using my custom hook based off of that user ID. So I'm going to say loading errors or loading error orders. Sorry guys, from useCustomerOrders, and I'm going to basically import my custom hook. So all these good programming practices come in handy, right? You can use it to kind of build out this awesome page and kind of make it, you know, do whatever the hell you want. So at this point, you could either do a map. So I showed you how you did a map. Now, if you're not using a scroll view and you just want a scrollable list but in a more optimized way, you can use something called a flat list. So I'm going to show you how to use a flat list to render out something inside of React Native. So in this case, I'm going to say flat list like so. And the flat list, we have to import like so from React Native. Where is it? Not there, it's okay, sir. And then this takes a bunch of important things, okay? The first thing is it takes some data. The data has to be an array of information. So our information here is the orders. Then what we have to do is we have to extract a key every time it goes through it. What is up, Papi Chuck? Good to see you. So every time we do this, basically what we do is we say that each order, so each singular, from me go through it, is I'm gonna map it to the order dot. And as you can see, I've got access to everything. So in this case, I'm going to say the tracking ID is unique. I'm going to make that the key, right? Keys are important when you're looping through things in React because it tells React what each individual item is in the list, and it prevents it from re-rendering the entire list if one element changes in that list. If you don't have keys, it's going to re-render everything in the list. It's not optimal. Okay. Now, I know there's so many ways to optimize in React. It gets crazy, right? Guys, 7 likes away from 700. This is crazy. Wow. All right, then now what we do is we say render item function, and what we do here is we have a arrow function. So in this case, arrow function that returns some JSX. So in this case, we're going to return something called a delivery card. All right, so I'm going to create a delivery card, and this is going to have the order as a prop, which is going to be the order that we pass in. And what happens here is what we do is we actually get inside the parentheses, we get the something known as the item. Right, so item, you see, and we're going to rename it to order. Basically, that's what I've done there. And now we just have to create delivery card. Okay, so let's do that quickly, and that way it shows something. Let's go to our components. Let's create a delivery card .tsx React Native functional export, and I'm going to create a type of props with inside of it the order of type order. And that will have inside of here the order of type, and that's going to be our props. Okay, cool. Save it, go back, import it, and you see it stops complaining as now it expects order, which is the exact same type. It works. Right, so the prop type's declared, it goes through as so. Okay, now here what I want to do is just if I hit this, you can see delivery card. So if something's rendering, we're obviously going to style it out and make it look nice. So let's firstly make this look pretty, so that way we've got something beautiful to look at rather than this hideous thing. So the view, right, let's start with that. So the style here, I'm going to show you, you can do a margin top with Tailwind, whatever you really want. I'm always showing you both, so that way you can feel free to do it yourself. I'm not doing one or the other to be consistent. Trust me, I know you can change it up, but yeah, you know. Okay, I'm here for the energy. Chris Fan says, I'm here. The power of this community is so damn high. That's what I love, dude. That's exactly what we do it for. And just like that, as he says that, 700 likes. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is so sick. That is so sick. Israel says, how are you? Thank you, dude. I'm doing amazing. Peter says, guy can do anything. I try. It's stressful, but we do it. Okay. Thank you, man. Style. Let's do it. So for the name and the deliveries, what I've done here is I've actually done two. So I've got Tailwind stuff and I've got, inline stuff. Piling Y of 5, border bottom. And then outside of it, I've got a border color. Because I didn't know how to change it in that. It wasn't working in the Tailwind way. And I've got the sort of the actual color that we're sticking to in this build. Let's go ahead and do that. Boom. Okay. And it should pop in a sec. Okay. Just like that. Style. Let's go ahead and do it again. Tailwind. Let's start this one up. So this one is going to be, again, in an array. We're going to have the text to be of type center. Text should be extra. Sorry, guys. Text should be in the center. Text should be extra large. And the font should be bold. Font should be bold. Awesome. Okay. It'll chuck in a bit. There you go. And the deliveries is going to be somewhat similar as well. And I also want to change the color of that. So that's why I did two. Nice stuff, Jay. I see you. All right. Let's go ahead and chuck the color in there. This is awesome. Let's go chuck that in. So we got the color will also change. And then I want to change the style here. Style, and I want to do a array Tailwind. Let's chuck in here. I want to do text center, italic, text should be small. Nice. Sasa says, you're killing it, man. Dude, thank you. I am only doing this off of your energy. That is why I do what I do. It's thanks to you guys that I can do it, because you guys have such amazing energy. It's honestly what powers me. Here, we've got something called the content container style. And this allows me to pad out the bottom so that way you can scroll a little bit past the bottom, which is kind of important, right? Otherwise, you kind of get this like right next to the bottom thing. So it's kind of annoying, right? So see this, right? Cool. Jay can tell you the computer spec in the chat. Okay, there we go. Quite nice. You won't notice it until I actually add in the delivery cards. But now you're going to see we're going to build this. Now, what's awesome, guys, which you probably didn't realize, is this delivery card is the same component here. It's the exact same component there. Right, that's actually the same component. The cool thing about this is that it just takes a prop called full width. And if you pass in full width, it changes to that. And if you don't pass in full width, it becomes a card. So really, really cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and build out the delivery card. Okay, so delivery card, and then believe me, we're actually nearly there. We're nearly there, right? So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and build out the delivery card. So I need Tailwind here, so we're gonna pull in Tailwind like this. Oh, my back is hurting. Right, so at this point, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna pop in a card instead here. So this is gonna be a themed card. And as you can see, it starts looking a little bit better, right? A little bit. And then inside of here, we're going to have a view instead of that. And the first thing we're going to see is an icon, right? So an icon. And self-closing component. There we go, themed. And this icon is going to be a name of box. If you're wondering what I'm building, it's this right now. So the box is the icon that we're writing right now. Okay. The type is ntypo and the color is white. Okay, hit save. Can't tell right now because that background is not a color. So we're going to change it up. We're going to make it so the card has a container style of the following. I'm going to say it has an array because I want to have some Tailwind as well. We'll say Tailwind, and here I'm going to put in the following. I'm going to say it should be rounded large, so rounded large, and margin Y of 2. Okay, margin large Y of 2. Okay, cool. And then we're going to do a slight change. We're going to have the inline style next to it. And then in here, I've got a bunch of things. Now I'm going to just put this on the screen. Basically, it's a bunch of padding and it's shadows. So I'm going to tell you what's happening. So we've got padding of 0, shadow black, shadow offset, which is basically where the shadow arrives, the shadow opacity. So if I change it to like 0.9, you see how the shadow becomes way darker, and the shadow radius. So if you change that to a bigger radius, it becomes more of a bigger spread. So you can really play around with that to get the ultimate kind of feel that you want. Oh, thank you so much, Universe Code. I appreciate that. Okay, so that way we kind of get the background, okay? And then the background color is the final bit. So background color, in this case, we're just gonna stick with the this one right here. So background color right there, okay? There we go, nice. Now you can see that, cool. So we're gonna slowly build this out, and then I'm gonna implement that full width, you know, sort of thing that we can do afterwards. So we've got the icon there, we've got a view, and inside that view, the first thing that we're going to see is a piece of text. Inside of there, we've got the order, and I've got the carrier dash, carrier dash, and I've got order tracking ID. So I've just kind of customized it as we're looking for order tracking ID. So as you see, it's going to pop in that text. We're going to style it up, and this is going to say the following. It's going to have Tailwind. It's going to say text should be extra small, text should be in the center, uppercase, text should be white, and I want the font to be bold. Bam, just like that, just like that. Look at that. All right, next things next is expected delivery. All right, so we're going to have a text, and this one's going to say expected delivery, and this is going to have a space, and then it's going to have we're going to pass the order.created at date. Now I am going to be using the created at date as a dummy here, but you would actually in real life have a actual due date, but in this case I'm just doing it like this, right? So I'm going to just, it's a demo, okay? So order.created at, and then I'm going to say .to locale date stream. Bam, there you go. Expected delivery 8th of 4th. Okay, and obviously you would have a time in real life and so forth. You know, you can really take it as far as you want. Just depends on your backend, what it's bringing in. So Tailwind, I'm going to change this to text white. Text should be in the center. Text should be large. And I also want it to be font bold. There we go. Okay, save. Bam. Cool. That's looking a bit better already. Underneath that, I'm going to have a divider. So divider. There you go. Get rid of that. Import it from React Native themed. The color of that divider is going to be white. Okay, so white. And you can't see it because there's no padding under it right now. Right, so I will make that padding more present. We're going to have a view. Under that, we're going to have a text, and that's going to have the address inside of it. Okay, and then we're going to have the text under it, which is going to be the order.address, order.city. Okay, and in fact, I'm going to have a little comma by next to it, and then we're going to have text, and it's going to say shipping cost. And I've not done if you were going to do this in a production environment, honestly, for the sake of time, I haven't done it today, but I would use a currency formatting library. In this case, I've just done £, right? But you would typically get that back from the backend, so it would typically say what currency, and then you would pass that in, and you would basically format it based on that. Okay. Someone said, "How did he zoom the camera?" Who knows? Who knows? Okay, we're doing well. Let's go. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and for this bit, I'm going to center it out. So I'm going to say style should be Tailwind, MX Auto. And then I'm going to say style equals Tailwind. It's going to be text based. So we don't actually need to change that. We can say text center. Oh God, I can't spell today. Text center. Text should be white. Font bold. Margin top 5. Bam. There we go. And then actually, you know what? I don't know. I think text base is bigger than that. Text base. Let me see. Did it change? Yeah, it is bigger. I thought so. Style equals. Yeah, guys, there's a zero tolerance policy for anyone being rude to the team. Okay, I'm just shouting that out. If anyone's rude to the team, like straight ban. There's no ifs, buts. Cool. We don't tolerate it here. Only positive vibes. Text white. Upper Fam is all about growth. That is it. All right, this song gets me hyped. All right, so we're gonna say text small. So Tailwind, text small, and then we'll say text should be center, italics, and text should be white. Oh, text should be white. My God, I cannot type today. Text should be white. Bam. There we go. Nice. All right, so there you go. Looking pretty decent so far. All right. And then Green says love for the team. Honestly, the team loves you guys. That's what we're about. It's all about positivity. Divider. Let's go. Bam. Color should be white. There we go. All right, view. Inside of this, we've got view, text. Okay, so we've got view. Inside of the view, we've got 2 pieces of text. Emmet is so powerful, guys. Here you've got item name, and here you've got, oh, actually I've messed this one right up. So we've not got this. We've got the order. So basically we're going to loop through the order items. So order dot tracking items dot items dot map. So we're going to basically map through the items. So for every single item, I need to return the following, and there I'm going to do a view with a text times by 2. Okay, and then that will have the item dot. There you go, name, item dot quantity. There we go, bam. We'll hit save. There you go. You can start seeing the items coming in from the orders, and then we can style it out. So the top one is going to be a style of Tailwind, and this is going to be flex row. Justify between item center. So I would really recommend getting familiar with Tailwind, right? So with Flexbox. And again, I will stress this out every single time. Oh God, we're nearly at 800 likes. What the hell? Right? I would definitely recommend that you spend a lot of time. Just play Flexbox Froggy, okay? And watch my YouTube video where we talk about it, because Flexbox Froggy taught me how to do Flexbox, and I knew after that, and it was just so much easier after playing that one game. So if you've never played it, definitely do so. Monique, what's up? Hey, good to see you. We've got Papa Fam OG members in the house. We've got members of Zero to Full Stack Hero in the house. It's awesome to see members there from our own community, the Papa Fam's best community. Right, so that was the wrong place to put it. I actually messed that up. I'm going to take this style and I'm going to pop it here. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to put inside of text, so style. And then it's Tailwind. And inside of here, we're going to have text white. Text dash white, text XL. Okay. For anyone asking where those components are coming from, that kind of stuff, honestly, watch the video throughout, because it's coming from React Native Elements UI library. Justify between items center, and also we're using React Native. They have their own components, right? So I justify between, so that should actually be pushing it away. So I've messed up here because that shouldn't be, yeah, my bad. And also, what the hell have I done? Why have I put the 2 views here? We didn't need that. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why I did that, right? And then there should be a view around the entire thing. So view, push this underneath. Style should be Tailwind padding around it of 5. There we go, hit save, and there you go. Looks very good, right? And in fact, for the quantity, I want to say X. So that way it's kind of like times 1, times 2, times 3, so forth. Okay, so already looking damn nice, damn pretty. This is good, right? The next thing we have is the map view. So we're going to show you how to do a map. Right, so for a map, we're going to go ahead and use React Native maps. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and implement that. So first thing you want to do is type in React Native maps. It will take you to docs.expo.dev. Now it's actually very easy to use, right? You just use the expo install like I explained earlier. So in this case, you can go ahead and do expo install React Native maps. Sorry, there you go. And then I'm going to do Command J. I'm going to go ahead and install it into our project. And we can do this, and you can use npx in expo install. We'll use the local version of it. Okay, almost 800 likes. Let's go, guys. Right, so I had a chiropractor reset my neck, and now my neck actually hurts when I'm doing this for longer because it's supposed to be straight, which is a good thing, I guess, because it means it's actually fixed it. Okay, so at this point, let's go ahead and we need to put it underneath the view. So first thing you want to do now is actually import the following from a React Native map. So we've just imported the dependencies. This works on iOS and Android, not the web. Okay, so if you are planning to do the 3 platforms, you have pretty much ruled out web at this point. You'd have to use a separate map and do a platform check to see if you're on web, and then replace the map with that. Just a FYI. Okay, so in this case we got map view, and then we're going to have a marker inside of it. But for initially, what I want to do is I'm going to have a map view, and the initial region is going to be the following. So the latitude is going to be, oh sorry guys, I've actually got to put an object here. The latitude is going to be the order.lat. Oops, sorry guys, order.lat. The longitude is going to be order.long. The latitude delta is basically the rate at which you've zoomed out or zoomed in. So I found a sweet spot for this was 0.005, which is kind of like what we kind of naturally tend to find these apps looking at, right? And then what I do is I'm going to have a style here. I'm going to style it out. So I'm basically going to have some Tailwind and something else here. So Tailwind, I'm going to have a width of 4. And then I'm going to have flex grow is 1. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm going to implement that afterwards. That's for when I have my full width add-on. I don't want to show you that yet. Instead of this, right now, what we're going to say is height of 200. Yeah, that's it. Height of 200. There you go. Cool. Okay, so this is what we're doing first. Now, I want a map marker to basically pop onto it, onto the screen. Right, so let's check this out. So here I'm going to say if there is only if there is order.lat and an order.long, then we want to basically put out the following on the screen. I want to have a marker on the screen, and inside that I'm going to have the coordinates. So coordinates are going to be the latitude, which is, yes, it's going to be the order.lat, and then the longitude, which is order.long, and then underneath that I'm going to have a title, which is going to be the delivery location. So delivery location. And then I'm going to have the description, which is going to be the order address. So order.address. Okay. And then we've got the identifier is going to be the origin, right? Because again, you could do destination as well. I mean, I guess it kind of destination, really. Destination. Yeah, you mess around with it however you want. But there you go, right? Basically, it's in the center of the map. Right, so you see it's actually stuck to the exact coordinate. If I click it, delivery location 123 Main Street is exactly correct. And the only thing that's messed up here is the padding below shipping cost. So shipping cost right here should actually have some padding beneath there that I've forgotten about, or the view that I put in there is actually the one. So yeah, the view that I put in there is supposed to have some styling on it, which is I've forgotten to do. So this one right here should have had some styling on it, this one here. So style is going to be the following: Tailwind, items start. I'm going to do them on the baseline, padding of 5, and I'm going to bring it slightly up, margin top of 3. Okay. So just like, no, I've messed it up. Okay, no, I've completely ruined that. But that's not the one I'm looking at. My eyes are a bit playing tricks on me right now. I've got my text here. What am I doing? Where is the icon? Oh, this one. Okay, so it was supposed to be here. My bad. Items should be at the start. Sorry guys, Tailwind. items start padding of 5 minus margin top of 3. I want to bring it up slightly. What am I doing? Oh my god, this is screwing me over right now. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna forget this. I'm just gonna go with my gut, right? It looks perfect except the address bit. The address bit belongs here. Where the heck is it? Where is it? And this is what happens when I get tired. Address is here. There we go. So I'm just gonna pop in a padding bottom of 10 and wait for it. Wait for it. Bam. Okay, there we go. It's a bit too big. 5 is good enough, I think. That's good. Yeah, see? Bam. Don't always have to go with the old stuff. It works. Cool. Right, that looks kind of nice. I mean, I've kind of got it differently aligned here. It's fine. I mean, the actual code is in the thing. I'm not going to spend too long on a line, but yeah, you guys can feel free to change it up as you need to. Okay, again, you can have it like that or like this. It's completely up to you. But there you go. That's that. Right, that looks pretty damn good. Okay, that looks actually very nice. Now, if I go into Mandy Jones, you'll see her card pops up, and this is for Mandy, so Union Square. If I go to Salim Ali, you can see there's a very different package, Xbox One S, Xbox One, so forth. Now, the only thing that's kind of weird here is Salim Ali has got 1. Oh no, that's correct. That's correct, actually. Yeah. Lucas Bill has 2. John Doe has 0, right? So in this case, he has no click. So you can actually have it so you don't have that. It's very simple. You just say if the length is 0, don't have a navigate. At this point, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to show you because the whole point here is just to show you the options. But I want to spend more time on this screen, which is the order screen, and how we can go ahead and leverage these with a sort function with the full screen variant of what we need. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Quick little water break. We are going damn well, guys. We're literally nearly about to hit 800 likes. Okay. Green just said, I'm pretty sure it does, yeah. I'm sure it'll use Google Maps on Android. Because it uses your native, yeah. The room is dark now. Yeah, the room is dark, right? Let me actually brighten it. Let me brighten it a bit. Let me go ahead and chuck on my, make my camera bring my face up a little bit. Because I think it's a bit dark. As in like the room is hard to see me right now. So give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm just going to make it a little bit brighter in this room. So... wow, wow, magic. Look at that. Look at that. Whoa. Turn the ISO and the camera up and the whole thing is about to go down. There you go. Bam. Okay. Magic. And back to the studio. There you go. All right. So at this point, let's do this. Okay, so Alex says, is there a solution to write only one snap without it? Yeah, you can do it, but remember, dependencies are going to have conflicting moments. For example, the maps, right? So that's where you're going to have to basically say, if this platform, then do this. You're going to have to deal with it that way. So that's the trade-off, but you have one code base. And plus, they tend to be very different, mobile apps versus web apps. So I'm a fan of doing iOS and Android React Native and Next.js web, because you can be a lot more efficient. And you can be a lot more like, it's just nicer to use Next.js in my opinion for the web. Whole different kind of flow. Okay, so in this case, let's just fly on to the order screen. So orders screen, bam. Okay, so now we are on the order screen and we're gonna go and move at a relatively fast pace. So 2 things I now need, guys. I now need to basically go ahead and firstly customize my prop type so that way it all makes sense. And then I need to kind of, sorry, I'm just changing something quickly. Okay, so 2 things I'm going to need in here. I'm going to need the navigation and I'm going to need access to the route. So I'm going to need a few things. So I'm basically going to make my type definitions early to save you a bit of time. Remember, we did this earlier, so I'm not going to repeat it. We basically are going to import our parameters, but I'm basically making a composite navigation type. Same thing I did earlier. And then I'm pulling in my orders, but except this time I'm on the orders screen. So remember, customers and orders, that's the difference. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my use navigation and I'm going to plug it with that orders screen navigation prop. So plugging that in like so will allow me to do that. Import, and now we've got access to the navigation prop. The final thing is once we hit this orders screen, I'm actually going to be on the, 1 second, what have I done there? Orders screen. Oh, sorry, I've gone to the wrong. Oh God, I've gone to the wrong thing. Order screen navigation problem. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's actually completely fine. I've done it right. Yeah, I don't need the route. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. Right. Okay. Okay. Jay, what the hell? Let's go ahead and check this out. So let's do const tailwind equals use tailwind, and I'm going to go ahead and hit this and use tailwind. So we've got tailwind working well, and then we're going to go ahead and have the following. So I'm going to pull in my use orders hook. I'm going to say const loading error orders, and I'm going to say equals use orders, like so. Okay, and now I've got access to those. Then I'm going to need something for the sort. So for here, I'm going to have eventually a ascending sort of Boolean toggle. So I'm going to prepare that now. So I'm going to say ascending, set ascending, and then we're not using this one. We're going to use the actual import. There we go. This is going to be a Boolean value, and yes, if you give it initial value, it will also infer it, but I'm just going to write it anyway, so that way you know both. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to change up this orders to be a certain color. So the way I do that is I use the layout effect. Oops, I use layout effect, import it like so, similar to a use effect. It's gonna be the exact same thing, right? Navigation.set options. Now here I'm not gonna have, I'm just gonna use that to basically write out, but I'm not gonna use that. Let's go. Here I'm gonna have header shown as false, so that way we don't see the header there. And I also want to have the tab bar label. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and do something with that tab bar label. So that's actually this bottom orders bit. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can change that. So first things first, I'm going to put some text there, and this is going to be basically just going to say orders. Here what we do is we get two things. We get the focus and the color back, right? And what we can do here is I can go ahead and say that the color of this should be, so I can style it based on that prop. So I can go ahead and say something like this: color, if focused is enabled, I love this song, right? If color is focused, then it should be that pink color, right? So we're gonna have a nice little pink color. Else, oh god, what have I done there? That's horrible. Else, it should be the color that it originally was. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and say the font size. Oops. Font size should be 10. There you go. Now it's pink. And it says orders. Nice. Okay, so pretty cool. We've got that down. So we changed that. So we've got that fixed. And then now we're going to go ahead and change the top bit. So first things first, make it a scroll view. Let's go ahead and do this. So scroll. Let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and say scroll view, React Native, and then I'm going to go ahead and say that we have an image, self-closing component. This is going to go ahead and be a React Native themed element. That's going to say source is, I've actually done the hard work for you guys. I'm going to say URI is, the pink is this one, guys, by the way. Remember this pink. So I've got this right here. And let's just chuck it there. There we go. I've got a string. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and, oops, no, this one here. I'm going to style this image out. That's why we're not seeing it at the moment. So container style equals, is our Sunny's live? Yes, I'm live, dude. All right. We're pretty good, right? It says excellent connection right now. So container, Jay, how we doing? Status. Let's do this. 64. Nice. There we go. Looking good. And then we can put a placeholder there like we did earlier, right? Again, you can really, you don't have to do that. I'm just showing you that you can do it. You can change it up if you really want to. Awesome stuff, right? So at this point, view, I'm going to have a view. And inside of my view, I'm going to have a button, right? Now this button, I'm going to import from React Native themed. And this button is going to say basically, if it's ascending, it's going to be the sort button. So this one, if it's ascending, it's going to say show first and so forth, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I've actually helped us out to save a bit of time. I'll put this there. And there we go. Showing orders first. Otherwise, it's showing. There you go. So there you go. Showing orders first. When we click it, it's going to do the opposite, right? So on press, it will set the opposite. So now you can see if I click it, it does the opposite. And then eventually we'll have that connected to our rendering logic. Okay. So at this point, thank you, Marius. I appreciate you, dude. Color here is going to just a straight up pink button. The title style is going to be color is going to be gray, and then it's going to be font weight of 400. Bam. Okay. And I'm going to say the style here should be a tailwind, and it will be padding y of 2, padding x of 5, hit save. Okay. There we go. So that's how we're getting that effect, right? Nice. Now the scroll view, I want the background color to be that pink color, so that way it kind of has this continuation effect from the picture. Okay, there you go, just like that. Right, so this is how we get this effect, right? And as you can see, if I click it, it shows off like that. Now we get the orders pulling in through our handy little hook. So what I can now do is I'm actually going to go ahead and pull in the orders as so. So we're going to say orders, and I'm actually going to apply my sorting logic right now off the bat. So I'm going to say sort, and if you've never done a sort before, basically you have two items. You have item 1 and item 2. Now instead of making this complicated, we just call it AB, right? And you put parentheses around it. Now what you do is you do a callback function, and you do a you basically will have a check to see if a something value is greater than b something value, then return a 1 or return a -1. And what this basically does is it sorts out that array to basically put it in order based on what you want. So in this case, I'm going to say if it's ascending, I'm going to do the following sort, right? And yes, you can completely move this into another thing or do it to the back end. You can really kind of change it up as you want. But in this case, I'm going to pass the date. So I'm going to say new date a.created at. So a.created at. I'm going to say if that date is greater than new date b.created at, then it's going to be 1, otherwise a -1. Okay, so you can kind of go ahead and do that, and then you can say else, and you basically want to do the opposite. So you basically got the same thing, but you've got less than. Okay, so that's essentially what you're doing. Then what that will do is it will sort that entire list and return an array. So then you want to go ahead and map through each order, right? And each order, I'm going to go ahead and render out something called an order card, which we're going to go ahead and create. The key for the order card is going to go ahead and say order.tracking ID, because that's unique. The item is going to be the order. Okay. In this case, we could say that as order whatever. It's fine, doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and create this component right now. So let's go to components. Let's create a order card.tsx, React Native functional exported component. Hit save. This will actually take two types of props, as in props goes here. The props that we said is going to be an item of type order, and then we go ahead and pull in the item like so. We append it like this. Hit save. Go back to our order screen. Go down here and we pull it in like so. Cool. Now at this point, you should be able to see order card being on the screen. Okay, so this now gives us context to go ahead and build out these individual items. And then from there, we can go ahead and do as we wish. Okay, and also the sort is not breaking things, which means it's probably working correctly. Okay, we'll see once we go ahead and build out the actual order card if that was the case. So we're very close to the end actually now. So very, very good stuff. Quick little water break, and we're about to smash 800 likes. So stick with me, guys. You guys have been incredible. We're doing very, very well, guys. All right, let's punch it. Let's go. Order card. So we've got at first we've got a touchable opacity. So touchable opacity, bam, and here I'm going to go ahead and do this, bam, bam, and then we're going to have a card. Okay, so card. Oh god, that's horrible. Card. Yep, bam, bam. There you go, save. Okay, cool. Now inside of that, I'm going to have a view. Inside that view, I'm going to have an icon. The icon is going to be a themed icon. It's a self-closed component, and then that is going to have the following. It's going to be a truck delivery, and it's going to be from the material community library. So bam. There you go. Yeah, we're starting to form. Okay, nice. And then, oh, this is a vibe. All right. And then inside of that, I'm going to have some text. That text is going to have a date item, and that is going to be the item created at item.created at to date string. And we're going to style it. And instead down here, I'm just going to make it very easy. I'm just going to say it's a font size. Oops, sorry, font size of 10. Let's say almost 800 likes, guys. Absolutely killing it. Okay, and the view that surrounds everything, I'm going to go ahead and create style from that. I'm going to say Tailwind, and I'm actually going to go ahead and do things. Tree walker. What the hell is tree walker? Tailwind, let's go pop that in like so, pop that here. And now inside of the overall view, it's actually not this view, is it? I've got this mixed up. This is not the view that I'm on. It's actually a view outside of this, a view. And then this view goes inside of that. And then style that. And now here I'm going to say that we've got style. The tailwind is going to be flex row. I want it to be justified between. And we're going to say item should be put in the center. The actual card itself, the container style, it's going to be a tailwind component, as in tailwind, sorry, styling, padding X and axis of 5, so we can push it out from the sides. I'm going to round the corners a bit, so rounded LG, bam. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, pretty good so far. Okay, and I want to next up have, outside of my view, I want to have a view with 2 pieces of text in. So view text times by 2, emit, bam. First one is going to be item dot tracking items dot length, right? A bit of a mouthful, but items dot length. And that will give me the actual item length. So I can say 2 of a certain thing. And then actually it's not going to be a text on the next one, it'll be an icon. So we're going to switch it with a feather. There we go. Right, and in order to put that next to each other, we're going to make that a flex row. So we're going to say tailwind should be flexed row, and items should be aligned vertically on the central axis. That way it kind of goes in center. And then the text I'm going to make pink. Okay, so I'm going to say the style of that is going to be an array tailwind, and inside of that I'm going to say it's going to be small. Items are going to be centrally aligned. That doesn't really need the central alignment, to be honest. And then here we can go ahead and put in the color, which is our pink color. Right, so you can combine it. There you go, pink. Boom. Looking good. Looking good. Sujay says, damn, bro, you're going really strong for 3 hours straight. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you. I would say I'm in damn good flow right now. And look at this. If we go ahead and sort, notice the dates are working. So sort works. Way. It's always good when your code works. Nice. So there you go, showing most recent first, showing oldest first. Nice, perfect, it works. Okay, so at this point, we've got the view looking pretty good. Inside of the view, I want to have a text. And inside of here, I'm going to have, oh, actually, I've completely skipped a bit. My bad. So before this view, I'm going to have a view with 2 pieces of text. I knew I wasn't going crazy. I knew it was 2 pieces of text. Right, here we're going to have item.carrier dash item tracking ID, item.tracking ID, and this will show, like, you know, the item, the UPS item or whatever you are doing. And then the next one will be items, the customer's name, basically, right? So it's the item.tracking, items.customer.name, bam. Okay, and here what I want to do, I'm going to say style equals tailwind text gray 500, so we're using Tailwind's colors, and the text should be extra large, right? That looks good. And we're not spaced out right here, right? This is looking weird, so we're going to say style equals Tailwind text gray 400, text gray 400. And for this one, I want to say that it should be flex row. No, am I flex row? No, I'm not doing that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a array and font size of 10. There you go, bam. That's better, right? So that's kind of more spacious. Okay, looking good, right? So in this case now, you guys can see that's actually looking pretty sweet, and these are clickable. So naturally now what we can do is, you see it actually works. So it flicks them and stuff, and we can see actual real numbers of orders. So when I click it now, I want to take me to that order. Okay, so essentially now I need to have it so it takes me to an order screen. So in order to do that, first I need to go into my root navigator, and I need to create another group. So in this case, root navigator. And remember, we had 2 groups so far. I need one more group. So underneath all of this, I need one more group. And this is kind of like your screen stack, I would say, right? So you would have all of your different screens in here. This because we had a modal and a different type of tab navigator here. But in this case, I can go ahead and do this. Boom. Okay, so this one's going to be modal screen. No, this is actually going to be order screen. okay, and not orders screen. So don't get it wrong, okay. So Anton says, hey, is this all done on the back end or front end? In this case, I done it on the front end, but yes, in an optimal way, if you had more time, I'd probably shift any sorting to kind of the back end, right? But it wasn't sorting on the back end, no. Okay, order screen. So let's go ahead and do this now. So I'm going to pull the screen in. I'm going to create a screen, sorry, order screen.tsx. There we go, right? Okay, JC Clyde, what's up, dude? All right, reactnative functional export. But why the array styling? Because I have a mixture of Tailwind styling and inline styling. That's why. All right, so we're going to pull this in. Order screen. There we go. And now I have something to navigate to. Okay. So let's go to orders screen. And thank you, Papicha. I appreciate that. Orders screen. Sorry. And here I'm going to go ahead and when I click on the actual order card, I want this touchable opacity to have a navigation to it. So order card now needs to basically have some navigation. So I'm going to create an order screen navigation prop, that basically that prop that we used earlier. I'm going to go do the same thing. Okay. So we got to make a composite. So I'm not going to repeat what we did here. We did this before. So I'm basically doing the same thing. Oops. Okay. That's nice. And then we got that. Cool. And then I'm making sure I'm on the orders screen. Cool. Okay. So order card. No, wait. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's being rendered in the order card. So that's why we, okay, cool. Go ahead. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say const navigation, use navigation and pin it to that. And we have to import our use navigation. Cool. Okay. Next step is on press of this, I need to navigate to my order, passing the order alongside it. So arrow function, we're going to say navigation.navigate to the, see, I love that. Navigate to the order screen. And inside, I'm going to pass in the order. And my order here is in the form of an item. An item is not complaining because it is of type order. Okay. Bit of a mouthful, but we done it. Nice. Whoa, my God, 800 likes. Let's go, guys. And we still have so much retention. I love this. I love you guys to pieces. Oh my God. TypeScript is killing it. I know, Anton. It's actually so powerful today. All right. Okay, let's go. And remember, guys, if you want to join the community, scan that QR code. I wanted to shout it out at some point, but there's a QR code above me right now. Feel free, scan it, join us over at the Papa Fam. I thought it was a nice place to put something in that gap. We're slowly building out the stream. Okay, and let me know if you want to see streams on this channel where I'm prepping. So that's kind of an interesting one. Okay, so at this point, we've got this. Now, okay, so if I navigate now, you see that, guys, boom, I go to the screen. That's exactly what I wanted, right? So now if I go here, you can see we're basically going to transition this to this. And the amazing part is I'm going to reuse the delivery card, but introduce a full screen prop, okay? So let's do that. So at this point, we're going to go to the order screen and we're going to go ahead and customize it out. So let's do this. So order screen, and this is actually a lot cleaner than you might think, right? Order screen, bam. And here, there we go. We're going to bring in Tailwind. We're going to need it. And at this point, this is going to be a view. And it's very simple, this screen, honestly. It's just going to have a Tailwind of minus margin top 2, and I'll show you why afterwards. It'll make a bit of sense. It's going to pull it up. It'll look quite nice afterwards. And then here I'm going to have const navigation equals use navigation. I'm going to pass in the order screen navigation prop, which I will create right now. And that is going to be, and again, you can see why I would probably recommend that you pull this into a separate file. Otherwise you're probably going to like clutter up your app, but it's kind of worth it, to be honest. For the trade-off you're getting, right? So I'm not going to explain this, but again, we've done that before. As we're rendering it inside the order screen, it's going to be the orders like so, right? So it's either one of those, we're rendering in the order screen. So cool stuff. Now, at this point, we're going to do a use layout effect. So use layout effect. Okay. We're going to import this stuff. like so. And what I'm going to do here is based on the order that comes in, and I'll show you how we get the order through the root prop, as I mentioned before. So what we actually, I'm going to do that now, actually, I need that. So let's make a type, and this type we did earlier with the root prop. So remember when I say you transition from one screen to another and pass a bunch of props in, by introducing this root prop, you can now go ahead and fetch that information. So heading into our code, we can see if I do const root equals useRoot, and I pass in the following, and I pull this in. Now, if I destructure this object and see what's inside of it, you can see we've got params, and inside of params, I've got the order. That's why we get it. I then use that as a dependency in the dependency array, and we can go ahead and do the following. So now I'm going to say navigation.set options, and rather than this, I'm going to say the header title is actually going to be, not that, sorry, header title, I want it to be the order.tracking. I basically want it to be the guy's or girl's name. So this is actually going to be, all right, so I just want to check something. All right, so order.tracking items. Why am I not getting IntelliSense here? Order. Okay, interesting. Order screen, root prop, order screen, navigation prop, params order. And my params order here is any. Okay, interesting. Why is that? Root stack param list. Undefined. Oh, here. Okay, yeah, so order. Remember, we forgot to change that. But that's cool. You see what TypeScript just did there in the flesh. It caught me out because I was like, wait, why aren't I getting IntelliSense? So I was thinking, what was wrong with that, right? So now you know, right? Order dot. Now that is very good. That's exactly where it is. That was actual proof of where it would show up, like in a handy situation. Because something felt wrong, and I was like, it's not giving me my suggestions. Why is it any? And then you find the problem before it becomes apparent in part of that production, right? So awesome stuff. Now name. There we go. There we go. All right, so at this point, header title, and then I'm gonna say, I want to actually hide no, we don't hide it here, sorry. We don't hide it. Instead, what I did here was I want to get rid of that, for example, firstly, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that the header back title and style is gonna be the following. So let's start those up. So the color of the back title is gonna be, header title is gonna be black, sorry. And then the header tint color is going to be pink. There you go. Yeah. If I didn't do this, by the way, it would have become pink eventually, or at some point. Yeah, there's a reason why I did that. All right. So anyway, we're going back here. So there we go. Jane Zhu, Mandy Jones. Awesome. Now I've got the order to basically go ahead and render out a delivery card. Right. So this is where it gets really nice with reusable components. Right. All I'm doing now is popping in my order, chucking the order in, and wait for it. Look, we get a delivery card, right? So how do I make a component reusable at this point? Okay, so how do I do this, right? So check this out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a prop called full width, right? There you go, full width. Now, inside of my delivery card, I'm now going to change everything up. I'm going to introduce it there, and I'm going to say it's a optional Boolean. So you don't need to give it, but if you do give it, we should do something with it, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around my code, and I'm going to start styling based on certain things. So the first thing I want to do is this one here. I'm going to say the style here, if we pass in full width, only then should the height be 100. Okay, 100%. Hit save, and we get that effect, right? And you're probably wondering, that does not look nice. Well, I'm getting there. Stay with me, okay? So at this point, we've got that, okay? The next thing that I want to do is the container style. So for the container style, I'm now going to change this into backticks. I'm now going to have the following an effect. So I'm going to say, if we passed in full width, right, then it's going to be rounded none. So the corners are going to be rounded none with a margin of 0. Otherwise, it will be rounded large. Okay. Now you can see the rounded corners are gone and the margin becomes 0. Nice, right? You see, even though if we went to our customer, they render differently, right? So they're in a reusable fashion. Here we're in a full width fashion. Okay. Next thing is the background color. Easy enough. We can go ahead and say if there's full width, I can say full width. Then you want to go ahead and have the pink, right? So in this case, I'm just depicting it based on that. You could pass in color props, that kind of stuff. Probably more of a production thing. I'd pass in color props, but in this case, I'm just making it easy. We don't want to go too long on this build. So that looks a lot better already. And then the final thing really is the map, okay? So the map is where we kind of need to fix it now. So the map, what we're going to do is we're going to say width should be this, and then I'm going to say flex grow should be 1, and I'm going to pass in something else here. Now I'm going to say, here, if it's not full width, only then do you have a set height. Otherwise, you should just grow and use up as much space as you possibly can, right? Now, we have a slight issue where I haven't set up the spacing correctly. So let's see where my issue is at, right? So final bit of debugging, and then we are in the clear. And I see why. It's because my overall flex, I've messed up something to do with my flex box. It's going to be in my, let's have a look. It's going to be the view where we have tracking items. It's going to be flex row. No, it's not that one. Okay. It's going to be, oh, okay. This is going to be tricky now. We're going to have to find the issue. Okay. Remember to drink water, friends. Thank you, dude. I definitely will. Okay, so let's debug this, right? So let's firstly refresh the app. Let's see if it was just a little refresh issue. No, that's good. We can check into this. Okay, firstly, each child should have a unique list key. So I forgot to put keys here. So each key should be item ID. There we go. So that way we will get rid of that error. There we go. And then the next thing is our map view, right? So our map view is not showing on the screen right now. It will show on non-full width, so it will show there. And this is most likely because we haven't got a height, right? So in this case, I'm saying if there's no full width and a height is 200, flex scroll 1, tailwind width 4, order long lat, okay. Right, now let's find the bug. Find the bug. We're so close. This is literally the final thing in this build, and then we are done. So I know where the issue is. I just can't find it. So I'm putting flex somewhere in the wrong place. No, it's not flex here. It's also something to do around my expected delivery, because that is not rendering in the way that I expected it to. So let's just start there. And we're also not seeing, okay, we're not seeing the children here. So that's a good point to look at. So here we have the divider white, padding of 5, okay. And underneath that we have our view, okay. Okay, so I've screwed up somewhere. 1 second. So we've got our divider white. We've got the view, which encapsulates all the way up until there. It says items. Okay, that's where it is. Right, I've messed it right up. No, I haven't. No, it's here. No, what the hell? Okay, so that's wrong. All right. So this view right here is surrounding the wrong thing. It has to be around all of the group. Hit save. And then this view right here is should be styled up, and it should say tailwind items. What's that? What the hell? Where's my tailwind? Yeah. Okay, so tailwind items start, and no, I've completely screwed this up. Okay. Oof, okay, we'll make it. We will make it. I like this. I like when you guys can see me in a stressful position. Okay, we've got the carrier ID. Let's break it down. We've got the carrier ID. We've got surrounded inside of this. Inside another one. Oh, I see. Okay. So I should have had a view around this as well. So my view that I'm missing is actually around the divider here. So, okay. So it should be a view around the divider. There we go. That's better. And then here my overall outstanding one should be Tailwind items start, padding 5 minus margin top of 3. Okay, yep, that's good. And then I do MX Auto to center it. Cool. Tailwind, MX Auto. Nice. And then we've got my view, which finishes there. My view, which finishes there. And then we've got an extra view, which is not needed now. So that can go. And this is where I've screwed up. Okay. So we've got a divider. We've got a view. We've got view text. View text. So this is one view too many. Okay. So now at this point, where have I messed this up? I have my view. I have my container, my card, my icon, my view for my style, my view for my style, my text, my divider up until there. Cool. And then after this, we have in 47, we have another view, my text, my text, my text, my view, my view, my divider, my view. Okay. It's actually underneath all of this. That's why. Nice. My view is completely in the wrong place. Whew, wow. All right, so you see it? There you go. Just got to be patient with that and try and figure it out. So in that situation, what I would do is, obviously I'm sort of using reference content, but if I was doing this directly, I would have probably broken it down. And my idea here, honestly, would just be to just do this. Honestly, if you ever get in that position, just comment things out. Just do one at a time. Okay, so that's not affecting my thing. You know, come here. That's not affecting my build. And then you slowly break it down, and eventually you will hit the point that you want to find. Right? But the main thing is that just symbolizes that we did it, guys. So 3 items. Yep, 3 items with the correct delivery location, Santa Clara. There we go. Perfect stuff. We can sort. We can do all of the stuff we wanted to do. We can go ahead and filter based on name as well. The app is pretty much damn there. So finishing things off, we've got our StepZen GraphQL API. Oh my goodness. Let me go ahead and just get some music up right now. Let me get this energy pretty big right now. I need a song for this. I need something. No. This ain't gonna do it, guys. I need what's one of my OG songs? Let's go ahead and do something. Okay, I'm gonna do it straight. Let's do it. All right. Papa fam, this is literally your UPS 2.0 clone. All right, it was an absolutely mad build. It was a big build, right? We did loads of stuff in this build. Let's context it down let's put it down into context, right? My brain is mush right now. Don't blame me. We took a scenario where you went ahead and had a backend from a client. You had the task of building a delivery tracking app and building an interface which takes the information from this this JSON database, which has no structure to it. Create an interface with GraphQL using StepZen to go ahead and make some kind of relational querying for queries from the backend to our front end. My mouth is everywhere right now. But then we went ahead and did that, right? We did that in an amazing fashion. We used StepZen to its full capabilities. We built out these and we used StepZen's amazing import. You guys saw how beneficial it was. And then we went ahead and used Apollo to bring it onto the front end. We used React Native elements to make it look beautiful. We used Tailwind CSS to absolutely crush the design. I showed you loads of different approaches as to how this can be done, right? And yeah, it's absolutely incredible, right? Lots and lots of things that you can then go ahead and add onto this build. And you can even add on mutations from StepZen, so it is supported. And if you want to know more about that, check out Roy Dirk's video on the StepZen YouTube channel. Absolutely incredible video. And guys, while we're here, I just want to say an absolute thank you to everyone. All of you are incredible. I cannot ever get over the energy the Papa Fam brings. I hope you enjoyed today's build. Make sure you use the first link in the description to get 300,000 free monthly requests using the StepZen account, and it supports the Papa Fam, so thank you for that. This has been your Papa React. This has been your boy Papa React, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm gonna wrap this one up with something different today. I'm gonna go ahead and find the song. My brain is kind of everywhere right now. Oh, this is old school, man. This is good. All right, yeah, but I'm gonna wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to go ahead and join the Papa Fam, then join us at Zero to Full Stack Hero. This QR code is in the top of the screen right now. It's our flagship community. This is where we pretty much do this stuff week in, week out with our members. Our members are awesome. I love and appreciate every single one of you, YouTube members and Zero to Full Stack members, and anyone supporting the Papa Fam. So without further ado, wrapping this video up. Thank you so much, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon for more. And yeah, until the next video, peace.
Walking the